everybody, we are live here at Author Central, and we are getting this all to work tonight, and I'm so excited. So we're here celebrating the birth of Noir, which is the second book in the Illumination Paradox Series, which is my series, and I'm all excited because now both books are out. And look what I got today. I got this today in the mail. This is the official Skyscape version, and I'm so excited. So we have Lumiere out and we have Noir out. And I hope people are reading, and I hope people are enjoying, and I hope people are going to ask us questions tonight. So speaking of that, I am going to enable the Q&A right now, and everyone can ask some questions. I really hope that you're out there and you're listening to us. We have a lot of guests tonight. A very special surprise guest has agreed to come on. I'm very, very excited about that. Big surprise. Those of you who are big fans of YA Lit will know exactly who that is, and I'm not going to say, because I'm not going to mess that up, because, you know, I want to say, but I'm totally just not going to say, because, you know, then the surprise will be just totally wrecked, won't it? So I'm going to get on to my giveaway for tonight. So people asking me questions, I'm going to choose one random question to be a winner, and that person can, you know, contact me afterward. In fact, all the winners tonight can contact me afterward at garlicbooks@gmail.com, and please let me know I'm the winner of such and such a prize pack and your address, and we will get those prize packs right out to you. So I'm super excited, and I want to share with you my prize pack for tonight, which will consist of a beautiful new copy of Noir, signed by moi, and it will include this really cool thing that I don't want to give away, but, you know, I have to give it away. So, sigh, big sigh. Anyway, here it is. It is a gorgeous little pendant on a necklace, and it looks a lot like the Insectaton from my book, so I'm really excited. Little ladybug thing. Awesome in this sweet little box. I also found this, and I just thought this reminded me so much of the books. So, you know, some lucky winner is going to get this awesome little summer shirt with all the hot air balloons on it. So cute. Nice summery little shirt. So that's my prize pack for this evening. And throughout the evening, whoever has a question, well, you know, they'll be the winner of that particular one. It's a random choice. So hopefully you will be able to come on and ask a bunch of questions and be a winner for tonight. So I have a couple of questions that were asked ahead of time, so I'm going to go ahead and answer one of those. Somebody was asking me how I was picked up as a self-pubber. I, of course, started as a self-pubber. I self-pubbed this series, and then I was picked up and I was contracted and, you know, re-released by Skyscape. So the story behind that is this. I did release the books on my own in December of 2013, and they've been out there about 1 year, I guess, and I got a call. And I used to have an agent, a really great agent, and we just were unable to sell my books. So we had parted ways, very lovely. We were still good friends. And what ended up happening was that he contacted me because an editor at Skyscape, whoops, that's not a good thing to say, Skyscape had contacted him thinking he was still my agent, and was super interested in the books. She was actually interested in some other writings from me because she thought the books were already out there and she couldn't deal with those books. So she was interested, and so, you know, he said, well, you know, you better get a hold of this lady. And so I did. I looked for her, and I found her, and he helped connect us, and we had a little discussion, and it turned out that, you know, she was able to purchase this series, and so a 2-book deal did happen from there. So that's how that all happened, and then it's just been a whirlwind since, getting the books ready for re-release with covers and redoing editing and passes of copy editing and proof editing and all kinds of little details that have to be taken care of, and so that's been really fun. So another question that someone asked prior for me to answer was, I get this question a lot, and it's the question of my covers. How did I come up with my covers? Well, I had a vision for my covers, and I was pretty excited about them. I wanted them to be a particular way, and I also had this thing that I really wanted my book to be, not able to pick it out on a shelf from any other traditionally published book. I really definitely wanted people to, not tell the difference. Be able to walk, if mine was on a shelf, if every other book that had come out that fall, I would want everybody to just walk past and see, oh, these are all lovely covers, and wow, they all look like they've been traditionally pubbed. So that was my goal, and I had this vision in mind of this, smoky background and these really cool dressed characters. And I was really super lucky because at first I had tried to do a cover with a company, and it didn't work out the way I wanted it to. So I was almost like at the 11th hour, and I had advertised the book coming out, and I was kind of feeling the pinch. And luckily, a really good writing friend of mine, she was talking to me, and I was like, I'm just going to give up on that vision, even though it was like really a cool thing to do. I don't think I can do it, and I don't think I have the time. And she was like, nonsense. No, stop. Stop what you're doing right now. And she made a couple of phone calls, and she happened to have a good friend that was a great photographer. And so, you know what? That lovely individual said, sure, you know what? I'll take the photos if she can get a model. So the next phone call we made was to another writing friend who has a lovely young daughter. And I was like, would you mind? Would your daughter mind? Would she want to do this? And she was so great and gracious that she said yes. And so, big to Summer, because she was awesome. She's so sweet and so cute. And, the same thing, another big to Trenton, because he's the guy on the cover of NOIR, and he was awesome, awesome, awesome too. And actually, I held a contest in my own hometown for young people to try out for that cover. I had a few people show up, and as soon as Trenton walked in, I knew Trenton was the perfect Ehrlich. He was just tall and lanky, and he had this gorgeous hair, and he was just so sweet and polite and wonderful, and he was just the perfect Ehrlich, even though he was, I think he's like 6'5". So that was a little bit difficult because Summer's like, tiny little girl. So, but anyway, I decided that was the perfect Ehrlich, so I hired him. And so anyway, we went to this private shoot by this great photographer, and we were all there. It was really fun. It was like a little gathering. And my son came along. He's an animator, and it was kind of his first job. He was just out of school, and he was going to help with the effects on the front cover. And I told him, I wanted the necklace glowing in a certain way, and I wanted the steam, and I gave him the feel of the effects. And so together, we were all there for the shoot. So he got to see it, and the photographer helped set it up. For NOIR, we rented costumes, and it was a super, super hot day, and that poor boy had 4 or 5 layers of clothing on and an ascot up to his neck. So, that wasn't good. The poor boy turned a little green on us, I have to admit. It was a little scary moment. But anyway, the dress came from Etsy. Everyone asked me that. La, there it is. It's in the background. A lovely lady made it on Etsy. I found it, I added a few things to myself, and I also found the necklace on Etsy, which was just unbelievable. I Googled green glowing necklace, and up it came, and I was like, oh my gosh, somebody's channeling the exact necklace that I was writing about. Some other artist on the other side of the world was doing this, and who knew? So it was very cool. She made it, fixed it up a little bit to spec for me, and sent it away. And we went to the shoot, and we did hundreds of pictures. Fabulous. And I chose from those pictures, and then off that went to a lovely, lovely cover artist who kind of pulled it all together for me and, you know, had the beautiful fonts. And so that's the story of my covers. I'm super lucky that I have great friends. I see that I have a question up here. So from outside, so it says, I just read and reviewed Lumiere for my blog, Book Crushing It, Crushing, and I loved it, and I cannot wait to read Noir. Congratulations. Thank you so much for that. That is just such a great thing to hear. That's so wonderful. Thank you. And I'm sorry I tripped all over your words. I'm just not a good reader. I'm a better writer than I am a reader, apparently. So sorry about that. But thank you, and I'm so glad you're here. So that's pretty awesome. Thank you. Okay, so now I have another question popped up. Can you show us a full shot of the picture over your shoulder? It looks beautiful. Oh my goodness. You know what? That is like my favorite painting. It's done by a friend. She's Russian, actually a refugee here in Canada from a very bad situation in Belarus. And she's a professional artist that used to work in the movies over in Russia, and she's amazing. The trouble with the painting is she's a tad bit naked, but I'll give you a little flash. How's that? Very quickly, this is this gorgeous painting that I have in my room, and it is like 6 feet tall, and it's gorgeous. So I always kind of cut it off because, you know, don't want my show to be X-rated, just want it to be G-rated. But, you know, it's art. It's art, right? So art is different, but she's fabulous, brilliant. And thanks for that question. All right, wonderful. That's great. Thanks for asking. I love that painting. It's inspirational. That's why it's in my room. I have several by her, actually. Very, very, very inspirational artist. So I'll go back to another question that I got asked before. Let's see. It says, how long exactly did it take for you to write Noir? And how long does it take you to write a book normally? Does it take longer to write, did it take longer to write this book versus any other books? Well, it's so interesting because Lumiere took me about 2 years, start to finish. And I was working, I had an agent then, I was working with the story editor, and I had made the book quite quickly. In about 2 months, I had, you know, ripped off an opening draft, a very rough draft. And I showed it to the person that I was working with, my story editor, whom I love. Hi, Lauren Oberweiger. I'm mentioning your name again. And I so love working with Lauren. And when she saw it, she was like, oh, there's more to this story. There's so much more you could do here. Like, you need to get it bigger and make it more exciting. And I was like, oh, no, I was just trying to make a little story this time. And she was like, no, not with this one. So I had made such a cool world, according to her, that I needed to, you know, just expand. So I did, and I'm glad that I did. And so I spent about 2 years working on Lumiere. But it's very different when you have a book come out. You don't have that luxury then to putz and you know, create and recreate and write and rewrite and carry on and, you know, make every little word dazzling, because there's people who are reading it and they're waiting for book 2, and you kind of have some deadlines and you've got to, you know, work within those parameters. So as a result, I actually kind of had an author crisis for a few months. I'm not gonna lie. That always happens in book 2. You're like, hey, the first one's out there. People like it. People don't like it. People are talking about it. Oh, no. Those are my words. Ah! And you kind of freak out for a while. And you know, don't really write. So then finally what happened was I have this great group of people on Kindle boards. They're amazing. They're really, really great. They're supportive and awesome. What happened was they literally started writing on there, I read book 1, what happened to book 2, this person is not bringing out book 2, this is really upsetting me, like what happened to this this was a good series. And I realized one of my other writing friends, she contacted me and said, hey, they're talking about you on Kindle boards. Get on there. And I saw these lovely people like pinging about wanting to read my book. And I jumped on and was like, hey guys, I was just a bit in a slump, and you know what, I'm writing, I'm trying, and I am going to do this series, and I am going to get that book out. And they were so great. They were like writing back, it's okay, we understand, and we're looking forward to it, and I'm so glad that you're going to get this book done, and you know, thanks for telling us. And oh, they inspired me. They inspired me, and I got right back to it, and I wrote Noir in about like 4 weeks, the original draft. And then, of course, rewrote it and rewrote it and rewrote it. So, you know, it took me probably about 6 or 8 months to get it completely done and ready to go and for anybody to see. And but it was much quicker than Lumiere. I think with each book in the series, you get a little bit quicker because you have to. And you also know your characters better. You know your world already. That stuff doesn't need to be set up, so it goes a little quicker. So that's the story of that. And let's see. I have one more question that somebody wrote in. Do you have any daily writing partners that are pets? Yes, I do. You might hear that one barking loudly throughout this broadcast, so please excuse. But yes, I have an extremely overweight, he's a caramel colored Sheltie, and he's just, you know, a big lump at my feet pretty much every day, and he keeps me company, and yeah, I really enjoy him, but he's a little too overweight. He needs to lose some weight, so we're working on that. Oh my goodness, look at this, look who's showing up. Oh my goodness, this is
hello.
Hi.
Hi.
This is our super special secret guest. And here she is. It's Ellen Hopkins.
Such a secret.
Well, it was a secret for my party, so I'm so glad to have you. This is one of my very first inspirations right here. This living inspiration is Ellen Hopkins. Yes.
Yeah, we've known each other a little while.
Yes, we have now. And actually, I have to tell this little bit of a story, and then hopefully people are going to start asking you some questions, but if not, I'll ask you some questions. But the very first book I wrote was called Raging Bitch Queen, which I'm still working on. I'm going to bring out in another fashion. But I was at a Florida retreat, and I had like the opening pages of another book that I was working on, and they were read out loud, and then I kind of got slaughtered. Like the editor did not appreciate my work, and I was like, ooh, I was kind of dying in the back. And then Ellen started talking about her work and her experience and her connection to her work and her life and everything, and the first 2 lines of the Raging Bitch Queen book came to me as she was speaking, inspiration, and I remember I wrote it in the corner of my notes on that day, and then I put underneath it, there's a book in here and a book of my heart, and I need to write it. And so, yeah, when I finally get it done, it'll obviously have acknowledgments to Ellen Hopkins in the back. So
that's funny because, well, with Crank, which was my first novel, it was inspiration watching Jack Gantos speak that actually gave me the way into the book, because I knew what I wanted to write about, but I didn't have the way in. And he had mentioned something, he said something in a speech about you are who you really are when you're alone. So the real you comes out when you're alone. And so that, like the second poem in Crank, or the third poem, starts out alone, everything changes, and that's where that came from, and that was my way into the book. Was thank you, Jack Gantos. We're like a mutual admiration society in the YA sorority fraternity group, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Yeah, and exactly, and that was the same thing. Listening to you speak, it had been like percolating in the back of my head, this idea, and then I was just like, I just don't think I should write that. I don't know what that would be. Like, how would I frame that? And then listening to you speak, I was like, I've got it. I completely know. And so, yeah, it's funny how that happens. You know, it's just like that creative energy is floating around the room, and it just like inspires you. And then you've got it. You've got the tools that you need.
That's why I recommend conferences for new writers a lot, because you get a lot of inspiration. You kind of hear other authors' journeys, and so you feel like a lot less alone. So it was, you know, conferences really were really important to me. So I definitely suggest people do that.
And you ran some of the best conferences ever for a number of years out there in Nevada. And I went out to many of them, and I kind of became an honorary Nevadian, and I really loved them. And they're still going. We have a new leader, but yeah, I have to say that I learned a lot of how to write from you and the people out there. Of course, I was in your mentor program, so that, you know, that in itself taught me to write, taught me a lot about the industry too, which is really important. I mean, you can be a great writer on your own. You can have the, you know, you can have the goods, but organizing the goods and getting it to work out just right, and then understanding the industry, how it works, how to connect with people, what to look for, what to stay away from is so vital. And I learned a lot, of course, of that from you, and I really appreciate that, if I've never said that. So we have a question from Ashley. Are there any books you used as research for writing this series that you would recommend reading? And I'm going to say, I think that's a question for you, but maybe it's for me. I'm not sure. Let's see if Ashley will let us know. But we can both answer it. So you go first. You've been working on some great projects.
Lots of projects. It's like it's just time for me anymore. You know, it's because I'm raising 2 young grandchildren again, so I'm back to parenting again. Plus, I still have an 18-year-old adult in the house. Yeah, he's really adult. And then I have my husband, and then I have my German Shepherd. So I've got a lot of stuff going on. So time for me is like really hard. So I'm here. The book I'm promoting here is Love Lies Beneath, which was an adult novel for adult readers. It's very sexy. That came out last month, and so and I'm really trying hard to finish the sequel, which was due a little while back, but I had some issues in the early part of the year. So I'm working really hard on the sequel. So this book, which has a big flip ending, I'm working on twisting the twists in the sequel, which is really fun. I've never actually written sequels back to back. So the sequels to my other books have always come out, you know, years apart, just when I decided I needed to. This one, because there was a little bit of movie interest to this one, but they want more story, so I had to do the sequel. So it's easier in a way, but it's also harder because you have to change everything up again, you know. So there's that. And as soon as I finish that, then I'll have to roll right into the next YA, which is also due before the end of the year. So you're writing a novel in 4 weeks. I really wish I could do that.
No, I meant a first draft, not the final thing. Like I just kind of like I do one of those like where I just kind of like, for better use of words, I vomit the book on the page, and then I kind of sift through it and go, oh, that wasn't good, and oh, this is a gem, and I kind of have to do it all over. But that's how it comes to me. I just have to write really fast, whatever comes to me, and then, you know, that happens really fast, and then, you know, the rest does not happen fast. But
see, and I'm the complete opposite. I do one draft. So I stress over every page before, you know, I move on. So it's like, and I'll go back and rewrite. As I go, I rewrite pages, you know, so it's like, oh, look, there's word repetition on the page. So that stuff I do as I go, and mostly because I have deadlines and I have to get them in, and I have an editor that I trust. I have a great editor that I trust to tell me, you know, the big story problems that are wrong, and then copy edit can do the rest for me. So it's like, I just want to make sure the story's right. That's my big thing. You know.
And yours is in verse a lot of the time too, so you couldn't possibly not commiserate and, you know, meditate on each page because it all needs to flow. So that's a totally different art as well.
This is my first prose novel, actually, so I've now...
I read that, and I'm excited. I want to read that one really badly.
Yeah,
so.
it's been fun, but, you know, because I'm the poet at heart, it's still about making every word count. It
Sure.
just look like poetry, you know, like the other ones do.
Right. You can get away with more when you're doing that, though, in a first draft, is what I'm saying. You can put it out there and then go back.
With this one, like, prose goes down so much faster. It just does.
Really? For you, yes.
So it was like it's going to be a struggle to go back to verse for the next YA, which I'm committed to doing verse because it needs to be that way. So, but it's fun, you know, kind of shaking it up and doing both.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that about doing some self-pub and doing some hybrid work because it's the freedom of doing exactly that. You can do different things at different times. So I'm going to try to get to, okay, Ashley says either of us. So, okay, I'll give you a minute here. So do you have research involved? I know that I have some in my series, but I'll let you answer first and then I'll answer Ashley.
Oh, I mean, it's research for every book, because no matter what, like there are mental health issues in this book. There's in the sequel and in other books I have to talk about gun ownership and how to shoot a gun. You know, I mean, all this stuff. Which I mean, I do some of that, but to really have everything right, how to clean a gun. You know, all these different things. I mean, every day involves research of some kind, and I love the research. You know, I came from a nonfiction and a journalism background anyway, so that stuff's easy for me to do, and I love that part of it.
Right. Awesome. And Ashley, as far as my books go, yes, I had to research a lot of really old words, what was popular in the 1890s time frame, what they would have said. You can't just use things like "oh darn" because they wouldn't say "oh darn," and so I would write in "oh darn" and then spend like 2 days trying to find the right word. So it's apparently blast. Blast. No "oh," no nothing, just blast. So that was really fun, and I really enjoyed finding the crazy words. I also researched clothing. I researched, just various things that would have been or existed at that time or not existed. I researched, language, dialect, although I had a Cockney grandmother, so that really helped me out. But I did a lot of research, and of course I did a ton of research about the X-ray machine and the early X-ray machine, which is involved in my book, and how it worked and what it did, and I was stunned and very upset about a lot of the things that went on back then and what they believed that machine could do and the damage that it did do to people. And that actually inspired me to write the book. So, Ashley, I'm going to pick you as my winner for tonight. Yay! So you're going to get my lovely prize pack. And so if you want to go to garlicbooks@gmail.com and just pop me a little email, you can find that on my website if you forget. And let me know your name and your home address, and I will be shipping this off to you. So you're so lucky you're going to get a signed copy of Noir. And again, you're going to get this awesome little shirt that I just had to get because it was so cute and had all these hot air balloons on it, like in my book. And then you're going to get this great necklace that looks like the Insectron in my book. So congratulations to Ashley.
That's good.
Oh, yeah. So, Ellen, I have a good question for you. So, how did you enjoy? Let me start again. Did you enjoy writing the adult book as much as you enjoy writing your teen books, or do you have a preference?
I like both. I mean, it's very different. It's not just that it's sexier, and it is sexier, but it's a little bit more adult. So this is my third adult book. Adult is more reflection. So there's more thinking about the past today in relationship to the past. When you write teen's all about discovery because teens only have like this much life. Adults, me personally, I've got this much life. So I've got a few decades under my belt. So I can judge what's going on in my life now by a lot more yesterdays. And so there's a lot more reflection. There's a lot more thinking about, if I do this in relationship to what I've done in the past, I'm going to be stupid if I do that, or am I going to be stupid if I do that? So it's different. And I like writing adult. I like writing kind of more in-depth characters, I guess, than you do with teen. But if I had to pick one, I'd probably stay with teen because I love my audience there. I love writing the discovery. I love writing kind of that subject matter that's all about who am I, and where am I going. Although there's some of that in the adult too, but you're a lot more settled in the adult part. So, but I hopefully get to write book. And actually, what I really, really want to do once I find the time is I have a middle grade novel I really want to write. So,
really, that's cool.
Yeah, because one of our kids he's got some emotional issues, and I see him struggle in school to make friends and to be the kid that I see, because he has PTSD as his psych eval, so he can't deal with big classrooms as well as he can with like one-on-one, and so he's really helpful and wonderful at home, but in a big classroom it gets kind of lost there. And so I want to write a book about a kid like Clyde. Because the other kids, the kids that kind of bully those kind of kids don't always understand that it's not that they want to be that way, it's that they can't help being that way. So that's a big middle grade that I want to write at some point when I have spare time.
Yeah, that's fantastic, because I taught for 16 years, and it's very true that there are just little fish out of water all over the place. And they need something to connect with. They need those stories, and other kids need to hear those stories too. And that's the connective tissue. And it really does work. I used to do a read aloud every year in class, and that really brought the whole classroom together as a unit of understanding and feeling. And stuff still happened, but for that little bubble of time while I was reading that little gem, everybody got it, and it was just wonderful. So that's all you can do, really, and that's great.
Yeah, that'll be a tribute to him, and I've done a tribute to my teen. I've done, when you care about people, they end up in your books somehow,
Yeah, my first book.
Also, when you don't like people, they end up in your books sometimes.
Very true. Lumiere, of course, is dedicated to my brother who had epilepsy, and the time frame in which he was born with it, the doctors basically herded my parents in and said, this is the situation, and keep it silent. Tell no one, or he will be treated differently. He will never have a job. He will never be looked upon the same way. And it was just the time frame. So kind of like Islet, he lived in silence and hiding his secret. And I look at the toll that took on my brother, who's a lovely, outgoing, fabulous human being, but who lived in this bubble of a secret and out of fear that people would know and that something bad would happen. And it's been awful for somebody to carry that for so long. And it's wonderful now that we kind of talk about it a little bit more. In fact, I had the great honor of mentioning the connection to the book at our hometown, at the first book signing, and my brother was in the back. And he stood up and people applauded, and my brother just beamed. And I was like, look at that, he finally got that piece of puzzle he was always looking for, that the word was out and it was okay and everybody understood and it was all right. And my brother was in his 60s, so that's a long time to wait for the tide to turn.
I mean, I'm really glad that we're starting to, open the doors to understanding, all these things, sexuality, gender, all these different things that were all secrets for so long, and thank goodness for young people. I mean, that they're so accepting up to a point. But again, it's needing to understand what's at stake and what's involved, and so anything that we can do as authors to kind of open those doors, I think it's really important that we do that, because there are people that will accept it, but somebody has to present that information in a way that makes that they want to know, so. Absolutely,
and I think that knowledge is power, right? And that this is the best way to do it, through story, through connection, through making people walk in people's shoes. I think it's great, and I love the comments I'm getting. You know, we need diverse books, which is awesome. And I'm getting lots of comments about it is so awesome that she has epilepsy in the book, but it is not about her epilepsy.
Right.
The book is about a greater, grander scheme, a big quest she's on, other things that go on, her, you know, falling in love. It's about a million other things, and it's about her learning about her epilepsy along the way, but it's not just the focus of it, and I think that's awesome. And you do that a lot in your books too, and I know that that's a fabulous, fabulous thing, because it includes that audience without making them stand out or feel the audience, and it also includes the people outside of that audience to a greater understanding.
Right, that's really important. That, you know, it is just a part of who they are. It's not who they are. It's
right.
just a thread of who they are. And then, you know, when books first started doing this, it was, you know, especially if you look at books about, you know, about gayness, about gay people, it was all about coming out. And now it's not that anymore. Now we have books that's just part of who they are. And that's something that was really important to me even early on, is that all my books always had gay characters, but not always, they weren't always about the gay characters. They were just there because that's how it is. They're just, you know, just right outside the door, there are gay people out there, you know, and it's like, that's the way it is. So it doesn't have to be that's the whole focus of the story. You know, that's just, it's part of the landscape, and that's just the way the real world works.
Yes, and that's the way it should be, exactly. You're right. I was just praising, I just did an interview before this interview, honestly, and they asked me, and I was talking about Jandy Nelson's new book, I'll Give You the Sun, and I was like, that is something I loved so much about that book, was it was not about any particular situation, but she dealt with a situation so beautifully, so seamlessly, so naturally. It was a fabulous book in that it just felt like you met the kids next door and this was their lives, and thank you for sharing. And I just loved it. She just handled that book so fabulously and had great YA voice. I was just excited. Like you said, for a change, instead of making it about a situation, it was about these two kids and their larger life and how they were dealing with every component of their life. And it was great. I don't know if you've read that one.
Yeah, actually, I love Jandy. Jandy's, you know, she's an MFA poet. She doesn't write in verse, but her language is so, it's evocative. It's so poetic. You know, I love her writing, and I love her too. She's like one of the most sincere, nicest people ever. So yeah.
Oh wow, I haven't had the pleasure of meeting her yet, but I hope I do. And I just, yeah, exactly. I could tell because the writing was so beautiful in that book. I was just falling in love with the writing. So, okay, I have another question that's popped up here. Let me see what's going on. And it says, Jacqueline, who are some of your steampunk author influences? And this is from Sarah. That's a little bit difficult because I honestly didn't read a whole lot of steampunk before I wrote it. Part of the reason I didn't do that is I didn't want to be like anyone else. But I have recently downloaded a couple of series, the Weaponry and Waistcoats one. I'm into that a little bit. I've done a few chapters, and I'm excited about that. I really like it. So I also, of course, grew up on, like, you know, a lot of the really old stories that were steampunk based and things. And like I said, I'm drawn to steampunk movies. Like Johnny Depp's Sleepy Hollow is like one of my favorites. It's like a classic to me. So I think when I jumped in, I wanted to stay ignorant a little bit because I didn't want to make my style anybody else's. I wanted it to be my style, my story, and just in that vein. So I hope that answers that for you. So, all right, so we have a new guest with us. Hi, Teresa. Teresa K is here. And Ellen Hopkins is also here. And so you're welcome to stay for a little while, Ellen. If you need to go at any time, you can just let us know.
Yeah, my dog's begging for dinner.
All right. Well, I'm so thrilled that you are here and that you spent this time with us, and it means so much to me because, of course, you know you mean so much to me. So thank you, thank you.
Ditto.
And this has been awesome.
Best of luck with the book.
Oh, thank you so much. And I'm sure we'll see each other soon. Well, I hope we will. So, all righty. Bye for now. All right, Teresa, hey! Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hi.
Friend. See, I go from an old friend to a new friend. I love writing because you meet so many great people. And we just met a while ago, but we really hit it off. And I just, I'm so happy you're here. So anybody out there who has questions for Teresa K, she is now here. And if not, we're just going to chat for a little while and, ask away. But tell us a little bit about your series and your book that's out. You got a second one coming out soon, right, Teresa? So.
Yes, I do. My young adult series is the Broken Skies series, which is basically about a girl that has to go rescue her twin brother when he's kidnapped by aliens. And there's some romance to it.
I totally read that
and then the second
school, like that. It was like that. Honestly, I was like, she does what? She's on a quest, and then he's like, pardon? Aliens? So I was in. Okay. It's a great tagline.
Well, they're humanoid aliens because they've actually been around on Earth a little bit longer than anybody thought, so they've been kind of blending in for a while. So the romance kind of works.
Oh, that's good.
It's not quite so much enemy mine as Roswell. And the second book comes out September 18th, and that's Fractured Suns. And I don't have a physical copy, but I can show you the cover on my phone.
Oh, well, there you go. Get out your phone and show us. No, that's awesome. Can you tell us a little tagline from it?
I don't know if you can see that one. I'm trying to think of how to describe this one without spoiling a lot of Broken Skies.
That's the trick right there. That's the trick.
Let's see. Well, the second book is told in a dual point of view, where most of it is from Jax's point of view, who's the main character from the first book, and then about 25% of it is from Lear's point of view, who is the alien from the first book. And they're each kind of doing things separately, but they have effects on everything that's going on, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, it does. I love that there's, I love that this alien is just like a normal kind of person, and we're having like an entire point of view from that. That's pretty cool. How do you write that? How do you research at that? I would like to know that. Tell me that.
Well, since English is not their first language, they tend to speak more properly. So it was really different when I was writing Lear's point of view, because I had to almost like say it in my head before I wrote it down, because if it didn't sound right, it wouldn't sound like him. Like he has different curse words.
Okay, tell us one of those. I need to know an alien curse word right now. I don't know what anybody else, but I need one.
He says blazes.
Oh, blazes.
So kind of like
that's proper English almost, because it's blast, right? The old proper English is blast. So your blazes is pretty close.
And then he doesn't use a lot of contractions.
Oh, wow.
Especially if he's around other members of the Ericon race, which is the alien race. They use very few contractions. When he's around Jax, he relaxes a little bit, and also when he's around his cousin Rhyme, he'll relax a little bit, because Rhyme has his own little backstory as where he really likes human slang, so he's a lot more not that he always uses it correctly, but
oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So a very common question tonight has been, how long does it take you to write a book? So how long, like, what's your process like? Tell us a little bit about that.
I think my process has been a little bit different for both books. Broken Skies originally started as a Camp NaNoWriMo project, which is where you write the 50,000 word novel in 30 days. So I wrote the original first draft during a NaNoWriMo type thing. It was awful. So I kind of tore it down and then rewrote it pretty much almost completely. And that took me another 3 months, and then maybe I had a month in revisions before I felt that it was ready to go out there. Fractured Suns, the second book, I had the first 60,000 words of it written last May. And then Skyscape approached me about republishing Broken Skies, so Fractured Suns kind of got put on the back burner. And then a bunch of other stuff happened, so it was kind of really, really delayed. So I just finished that. So Fractured Suns took me like a year and a half to write to completion.
Yeah, that happens when that Skyscape gets involved, doesn't it? And all of a sudden it's like, woo, your life goes another way. So very much, very true, very true. I have a question that's popped up for you. I have a couple, actually. I'm getting behind. So let me ask you a couple of these questions. So
Okay.
let's do this one first. Okay, Teresa, do you find it a challenge to write in dual POV, or was it easy to express your characters this way?
Lear's point of view was a lot easier to write than Jack's is, mainly because Jack's, as a character, is very stubborn, and sometimes she just flat out refuses to talk to me. So Lear, I never had that problem with. He would just kind of tell me what's going on, you know, whatever. But Jack's, it's like, if the story was going in a direction she didn't think it was supposed to be going in, she'd just stop talking.
That's it. No more. You're done.
Very big on taking over the story. So in a way it was easier, in a way it was harder, because I had to kind of make their two concurrent storylines still match up.
Wow.
But I liked writing in Lear's point of view.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so the next question for you, that was from Sarah, by the way. This one is from Lenore. Do you have any other projects in the works besides the Broken Skies series and the Bright Beyond series? Are you in any more short story anthologies? Basically, tell me what's coming up.
Let's see, the Z Chronicles, which is the Zombie Chronicles, I have a short story in, just came out in June, and then on August 24th, I'll be in a space opera anthology called The Dark Beyond the Stars.
Which has an amazing cover. Anyway, go on. How'd you say that?
If I could figure out how to share a picture on here, I'd show you the picture. Hold on. I think I can do a screen share.
You can. You can go over to the side there, and I think you'll figure it out. It's there's
share.
Yeah, it is amazing, that cover. Woo! Fabulous. Oh, there it is. There we have it. Oop, it went away. Do that again. Oh, I did it. Did I do it? No, you did it. Do it again. Whatever you just did.
It's still there for me.
There it is. Oh, it's blinking on and off. Okay, so that is an amazing, amazing cover. Anyway, go ahead and tell us what else you're doing, because I just wanted to talk about that. Show that cover, because that's a great cover.
Now I've lost. Okay, there we go. I'm working on the third episode in the Bright Beyond series, which has been a long time coming. That's my novella serial, which is more new adultish, and it's just been kind of put on the back burner for everything else. But that's really all I have coming up. I have a lot of back burner projects that are clamoring for attention that will eventually get some attention after this summer. My life's been really, really hectic this year, so everything's been on the back burner.
Yeah, that happens. That happens when you got a lot of projects on the go. Okay, next question. This is from Ashley. Says those covers are gorgeous too. Excited for the next part to come out. Wondering if you knew how many books you wanted to have in this series before you put out Broken Skies, or if the chat characters have yelled at you for more page time.
I always knew Broken Skies was going to be a trilogy, mainly because I have a thing about matchy-matchy titles. So it's Broken Skies, Fractured Sun, Shattered Stars.
Oh,
I really couldn't find anything else to match. There will probably be some outtakes. I know a lot of people have asked for some before scenes from a certain couple, just to kind of see what their relationship was like before all the crap happened. And then I know Rhyme will probably get his own short story, at least, maybe a novella.
Oh, so we're going to see some novellas popping up maybe then.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Perfect. All right. I have another question for you myself. So, when you were self-publishing, did you, was it a goal of yours to be traditionally published, or were you quite content self-pubbing, and then it was just an opportunity that popped up and you were like, maybe, yes, let me think about that. Yes.
I was content self-published, but I had said from the beginning that probably the only traditional publisher that I would be willing to entertain an offer from would be Skyscape. So when the Skyscape offer came in, it was kind of like, oh, well, that's great.
Yeah. So what attracted you to them as the only publisher you wanted to work with? What were some of the reasons that you made that decision?
I'd seen a lot of other self-published authors go through them like early on, and people whose careers that I'd followed, and I liked what they'd done for them, basically, and I liked the visibility that I saw at that point for them.
Right. And was it different in any way from TradPub? Like, did you feel that, I've heard some people say they think it's more hands-on, or more, you get more say or more involvement as a Skyscape author than traditional avenues, or they believe that to be true? What did you think about that at all? Was that a consideration?
That was a consideration. I know a lot of people are anti-Amazon, but I've always liked Amazon. Even when I was self-published, I mean, without Amazon, I wouldn't have been self-published even. So I don't really have anything to compare it to with other traditional publishers. From what I've heard, some of the things they do, like how their royalty payments are monthly instead of semi-annually, is a big thing.
Right.
But other than that, I don't have much to compare it with.
Oh, that's good. So, when you were self-pubbing, and you said Amazon was a big part of that, so were you exclusive to Amazon, or did you go outside of Amazon and have your books on other venues, or were you exclusive to Amazon?
I was in Kindle Select. I was exclusive to Amazon.
Right. So you got all your success right there in-house, and found your niche. Oh, that's great. That's good to know. So lots of people have done that, I understand. So it's interesting. So let's see, what else do we got popping up here? It says, in your next plan for some of those books that you've been thinking about writing, which one would you write first? If you could drop everything right now, which one of those projects would you go directly to?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Um,
We've stumped her.
if I could drop everything else, including the things that I have like half started here and there, I would probably want to write a young adult, new adult fantasy, like epic fantasy,
Cool.
like Throne of Glass type things.
Oh. All right. All right. So we have one here from Kelly, and she wants to know, what is your favorite book? Do you have a favorite book that has inspired you?
I can't pick a favorite book. That's like trying to pick a favorite child. um,
Maybe do just something recent. Not for that, but we'll.
Probably the book that would be the closest to my favorite without picking a favorite would probably be Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. I love that book.
I have not read that yet, but my husband read that series and he loved it and never stopped talking about it. So I really need to do that. Put that on my list, right?
Yes, it was a good book, and the TV series is even great too.
Oh, I'm so mad. I'm Canadian and I can't get that. I haven't figured out how to get it yet. We're probably going to get it from now, after everyone else has it. If you're Canadian and you know how to get that, you just like need to write that in the show notes for me. I've been dying to watch that. I suppose I could stream it, download it or something, but, you know, I'm not that smart.
Well, Lenore, who asked a question over there, she might know. She's Canadian too.
Oh, Lenore, you make sure that you put that in the for me, because I am missing out big time on that, and I really want to watch that. So, all right, I have a question for you. Somebody stumped me on the last radio show I just did. They were like, okay, tell me what you're reading right now, and tell me something that is the most memorable part of it so far. And I was like, ugh. So you're welcome to do the same.
I just finished a book, and it was a young adult fantasy that I picked up off Kindle Unlimited, and I'm blanking on the title right now because it was an unfamiliar author to me. And I like to pick up books off Kindle Unlimited and read them, and I picked it up because it was fantasy. I really liked that.
Or everybody else has a title card.
Oh, we're just finishing up with Teresa.
Hey, I'm trying to figure out if I actually call in.
She's kind of stumped on this question anyway. You showed up right in time. So if you want to go over to your toolbox on the side and get your name tag set up, then we'll just let Teresa finish her answer. And then
okay. Thank you. Sorry, Teresa.
Oh, it's okay. I really liked the action sequences because there was this type of magic system called the Drift, where the female main character could create weapons that she would kind of pull out of thin air. So I thought that was really cool.
That's very cool. All right, well, we'll finish up with you tonight, and thank you so much for coming. I'm so excited. We're new friends and hopefully a long-time friends, and I really appreciate you coming out for my launch. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Good night, Teresa.
Good night.
And hi, Gwenda, how are you?
All right, so what am I doing wrong? Is there something I'm supposed to click on the side?
No, you know what? As long as you talk, it'll flip to you. But if you want to go, we'll take just a minute. We'll go down to the side on the left, or on the left side. If you want to go down to the toolbox, it's red and has a little wrench in it. Click on there, and a little panel should come up on the right. And if you click on the little person inside the circle, it's on the top bar, and it's on the left. It's just a little head in a circle. You see that?
Yeah.
And you click on that, and then you go to lower third.
Ah!
And when you go
I clicked on the wrong thing. Okay. Hang on. Toolbox. I enabled it.
Okay, now go to the little head in the circle at the top left. It's in the very top banner.
I see it. And so I just pick my name.
Click on that and then go to lower third, and then your name is there. And then below that, if you want to write author of and tell us the book series. And then there's a little thing there that says emblem or label or something like that. And you click on it, and it'll take you through to your files, and you can pull up your book cover.
Well, that seems too fancy. Like.
And you can just do your name. And then once you're done your name and your author, then you can click the on button at the top there in the top row. Again, it says off. Just click it on.
Oh. A thing.
The very, very top on the top bar on the right.
Got it.
And there you are. Yay!
Yay!
Hello. So great of you to join me.
Well, congratulations on your book release, your second book release.
Oh, I'm excited.
In like 2 weeks, in what, 3 weeks? 2 weeks?
It was 2. It was like rapid fire publishing here. Amazon doesn't mess around. So
No, they don't.
Yeah.
Just show off that pretty cover.
And then NOIR, and it was like,
Yay.
yeah, and it was like boom, boom. So, you know, I guess that's good in a way. It's good for readers. That's a little bit stressful for me.
Well, at least you get a little bit of a break right after this one is out. And
there's definitely going to be some downtime because the next one's going to be a while. So, all of you people out there who are listening, I want you to know that we're here with Gwenda Bond, and I want you to feel free to ask questions. The Q&A is enabled, and if you have any questions for her, please ask. We're going to visit for a little bit, but you pop on with questions, and we'll answer them as we go along. So
that's good. Oh, and by the way, so I just came from one of our Skyscape fellow authors, Chuck Wendig, was in town with one of his adult books, and I just came straight from his event. So he said hello.
Wow, he released today too, did he?
He called Zeros, an adult book, not a young adult book, that came out today, and he was doing an event in town with a couple of other authors. So we went out to dinner beforehand.
Oh, that's really cool. That's really great. And I noticed that you're a fan of the same color green as me on the back.
Absolutely.
I'm like, we are totally sisters. There we go. We are like, you know, I can tell already that we are going to be great friends because of your decor.
Yeah, you can see the green, the outline in the background hanging.
Oh. Okay, let's study what's going to happen in the next book. She's like,
Sequel to Girl on a Wire. That's the outline for the sequel to Girl on a Wire.
Oh, really? That is such a fantastic book. I have heard so much about that. I have not yet had the chance to read it, but it's on my list, and I really want to get to it. But I'm hearing about it, and I'm like, oh, you know, people are just praising that thing, and I'm like, gosh, I've got to get to that book. So tell us a little bit about that book. Tell us.
The Girl on a Wire is the book of my heart, I always say. I always loved circuses and never really thought I would write a circus book. I always read all circus books, but never really felt like I had anything to add. But I should have known, you know, when I started obsessively collecting books about circus stuff, that at some point I would write one. And I had the flu and was watching, PBS had a mini-series about the Big Apple Circus in New York. And I thought, wow, like almost all the circus stuff that I've read is historical. And so historical really intimidates me. I'm so impressed by you steampunk guys who kind of mix and mash like history with other stuff. Like history really intimidates me. I like to incorporate it, but I feel like I need like the modern day setting for my own comfort level. And so it was just this moment of going, oh, I could write something set in the modern circus where the circus isn't magic, but there's magic in the circus. And I really wanted to write a daredevil. I've always loved high wire walkers. And so, you know, it really was just a story that came out of nowhere. You know, like I literally was sick and then had the idea and started it a couple weeks later. And actually started Girl on a Wire before I sold my very first book. I was probably about 80 pages in, you know, to that book when we sold my first book, Blackwood. So I feel like in some ways it's special to me because it was the last book I started before I was published, if that makes any sense.
It does. It was a very important book because, you could have gone off on another tangent and given up on stuff and then never gotten back to it, but you obviously did. And so that means something. Oh, that's too bright. I was going to add a little light to the situation, but I'm not going to do that. I was afraid it was getting a little dark over here, but yeah, I totally get that. And I was going to say, you must have been glued. I don't know if you saw it, but last year, I'm not too far from Niagara Falls, Canada here.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So the tightrope walker last year.
Yes.
Did you die watching that? I was holding my breath the whole time. The person's crazy. Absolutely.
Well, it is. Circus families are definitely their own thing, but yeah, the main character of Girl on Wire is very much in the Walinda family style, doing those kind of stunts. And actually, he did a walk to follow up on Niagara Falls. He did a walk between buildings in Chicago, which is something that my character did first, although she was not a woman from the 1800s. So,
oh, that's cool.
But there is a real tradition of that, and we don't see a lot of it these days. But it is really cool to get to watch those walks, and I definitely am glued to them when they happen.
I was blown away because that wire was icing up mad. And if you've been, oh my goodness, if you've ever been to Niagara Falls, you just literally know the treachery of that. And if you've ever been there, I've been there almost every year since I was born because my parents love the place, and it's just a Canadian thing. We all go there for a weekend. Just the way it is. If you live in Southern Ontario, it's where are you going this weekend? Well, we're going to Niagara Falls. We've seen it 150 times, but we're going to go see it again. It just never gets old. But the journey behind the falls, where you actually walk into this cavern that they dug under the falls, and then you pop out where it's literally coming over the side, and you just hear the power of that water, and you see it beating the rocks away, and you're just back up. So I totally can't believe that guy did that with no wires, no extras, no nothing. Oh my goodness,
it's you definitely have to be you have to be willing to risk your life. His grandfather died doing a walk in Puerto Rico, actually. Look, I know way too much about this stuff.
Yeah, that's cool though. It's very interesting. I love that you know that. So, the other thing that we live here is the Cirque du Soleil, which is a very, modern-day magical circus. Yeah.
Absolutely. Canada is actually huge on the circus, I think. There's a book that I read for research about an academy there, and I guess a lot of the Cirque training goes on.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Quebec is, I think it's a large employer in Quebec, I really do. And, Quebec's a very creative place. There's a lot of drama, there's a lot of street buskers, there's a lot of that type of entertainment available, and pure raw talent comes out of that area. It's really kind of neat. But
I would love to visit. I've never been to Canada. I know, I can't believe it. I've got to get up.
You're just gonna have to come visit me. I'll take you to Niagara Falls. That's where we go. It's funny because Cirque du Soleil does an event every summer at Niagara Falls in a tent.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and it's really magical every time. So,
Oh, that sounds great. I didn't know they did that.
Oh yeah. They did one with horses a while back, and it was just breathtaking. These beautiful, beautiful horses, and all these people intertwined with the horses. It was amazing. It was just great.
Oh wait, so tell me about the costume behind you, that beautiful dress.
Okay, so this is the costume from the cover of my book that I love here. In the cover, right here in Lumiere. So
that's cool.
Yeah, so I have it, and I bring it out to signings. So I bought that lovely little bust thing to put it on, and so it's a big hit at signings. People like to see it. It looks really cool on the book, but it's really not that glowy.
It's beautiful though.
Oh, it is. A lady on Etsy made it, and it was so interesting because when I was doing the shoot for the cover, I was just searching for, a dress, and so I was Googling all over the place, and this dress popped up, and I was like, oh, that's exactly what I would like. So I contacted her, and luckily she still had it, and because she had a large assortment and a lot were sold, and she's a beautiful seamstress, and I wish I could remember her name at this moment, but I can't. But anyway, so I ordered it, and it came, and then I wanted to just put a few extra little embellishments on it myself to go with steampunk, so I did, and added to it a bit. And it's funny because the necklace.
Do that. So, are you a crafty person? Are you a sewer? Are you a maker of stuff?
Yes, I like to make things. Yes,
Cool.
Yeah, I paint and I sculpt, and I do, I like to sew. I'm not like anybody who would sew great, wonderful things, but
Look, I can't even sew on a button, so I'm super impressed. Like, my husband will watch a YouTube tutorial if we needed to make a quick repair on something.
Yeah, I'll show you something that I made, and I used to make the costumes on these, and I'll bring her over here close. Because it's come up twice tonight, so I'll just bring it over here. And I actually made the clothing on this particular sculpture. I did this all the time. So I would get cool, I'm going to disappear for a second and come back in a second. So I would get really cool clothing, like cloth, and then, so this is the outfit that I made, and then this is her whole outfit.
That is very cool.
So she's got this beautiful garment.
So elaborate.
Yeah, I would literally create it and make it right on the sculpture. So let's see if I can bring her closer in to the view.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So she has she's just dancing, and she has the whole under outfit is one layer that I sewed on to her. I don't know if I can show that. So she has this.
That's so neat. It reminds me of those Brian and Wendy Froud, the fairy books, kind of. With the, you know what I'm talking about, the paintings. Like, that's what that reminds me of. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So, and I made her face and hands and everything. Like, I sculpted those, and then.
Wow.
Dyed her hair and, did everything. And she actually has glass eyes from Germany. I used to do this all the time, and I was so into it. And I ordered eyes all the time. It was like a creepy thing, we'd get eyeballs. I made life-size ones as well, and we'd get like life-size eyeballs. And my kids were all like, "Mom,
this is weird."
Yeah, it's fun though. And I've got like about 10 or 15 of these guys all over the place, and my daughter jokes all the time. She's like, "Who gets the creepy people when Mom goes?" So, if I have warning or I'm an old lady, I'm gonna have to have an action because I can't imagine where they'll end up if my kids are in charge. They'll be in a landfill somewhere. The poor little darling.
They'll do like some kind of attic, like like way creepier than they were in real life.
They'll have some
like real life. It's ethereal and beautiful, and they will, they'll make like an attic gallery.
They're gonna end up in some Stephen King novel.
Right.
They're gonna end up after.
Dolls are always just like this close to turning into creepy, right? Yeah. Like no matter how beautiful and friendly they are. Like
your obsession with the circus is like my obsession with dolls.
Yes, totally.
Yeah, and the creepier their faces, the more I love them. And so it's gonna be, it's like so bad. And I have a Charlie McCarthy doll. I don't know if you know what that is. But it's a really old doll from the 40s. My parents were a lot older. And it was, there was Charlie McCarthy, and then I can't remember the other, Herkimer Sneed, I think was his name. And it was Candace Bergen's father, whose name I can't remember, was
right.
It was his puppets. He was a very famous.
I have read about this guy. I love puppets. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So Charlie McCarthy had like this little hat, and his mouth opened and closed like like those scary Chucky dolls.
Yeah.
And I had a replica, and it was up in my closet from when I was a kid. My dad got it for me, and I always treasured it. And one of my sons, my second son, was terrified of this thing. He was like, Mom, why is that there? Go away.
I can only imagine. Yeah. Right. Finally opening a closet, and there's creepy clown right there. Right.
It's like Chucky. Mom has Chucky in the closet. Different generation, different meaning altogether. It was like Charlie McCarthy to me. It was like Chucky to my kids. I finally got rid of him. It was so sad, but I did, just for their mental health.
Oh, you should have just hidden it somewhere, and then, like, when they think it's gone a year or two later.
Yeah, it was just time to part with my dolls, I guess. And then I started making these, so I just creeped them out worse. So, but I think I have a question here for you that just popped up. Jules is such a strong character. Do you have any favorite heroines, either real or fictional, from which you drew inspiration for her?
Oh,
Ashley.
I think probably with Jules, to me, when I first started thinking about her, it's a great question, and thank you so much, Ashley. That's totally the reaction I want people to have to Jules. I was really worried that people would not like Jules because they would feel she was too driven or ambitious. So I think for me, Jules is the person who grew up kind of cloistered a little bit from the outside world in this sort of eccentric family, and has developed her persona as much as anything based on watching 1930s and 1940s comedies with her grandmother. And those women in those movies are so strong and driven, in a lot of cases more so than what we get now, especially in romantic comedies. And so I think so I think that is an influence on Jules, but honestly, of all the characters I've written, with the exception possibly of Lois Lane, who comes with some things preloaded, like you kind of have a concept of who Lois Lane is starting out, even though I had to figure out who my Lois Lane was going to be. I think for Jules, she is the character who just was real to me almost immediately.
Yeah, well, I can see that because, you were saying it's the book of your heart, so clearly you had like a good handle on that person when you have that much of your heart involved in it, so
yeah,
that's great. Well, I'm going to make Ashley the winner for you, so if you want to tell us what your little prize for her is before you wrap up, that would be great.
Absolutely. So she just needs to send me and so you can email me your address or email it to you, whatever's easier, and you can pass it on to me at gwenda007@gmail.com, and I will send you a signed book and some swag in the mail.
Oh, fantastic. Well, that was great. Thank you for stopping by, Gwenda. That went really fast. We had
a lot of creepy dolls. Like, I
got out creepy dolls and had a really great time. And so thank you so much.
Have a great launch party.
Alrighty. I already am. Thank you so much for being a part of it. And we'll talk soon. Bye. And look, Alys Arden is here. She's in the house. Hey. And that she's wearing that purple hair. I just love that purple hair. It's so awesome.
It is storming here, so I'm just warning you that if I disappear, it's because my internet goes out or the electricity goes out. Something.
Oh, no, wait, world. Just wait. We just have a few minutes with Alys.
So, I know. So I'm trying to watch the whole party, and it's been like in and out and in and out.
It's like they were there, now they're gone. Okay.
Exactly.
I want to say to all of our viewers out there right now, if you have a question for Alys Arden about the Casquette Girls, please feel free to ask. Use the Q&A, and we will keep track of those questions, and we'll totally get you an answer. So in the meantime, Alys and I are just going to hang out and chat. So, tell us about your series a little bit, Alys. I want to know. I'm reading it right now. But I want to know anyway for the viewers, because so far I'm hooked. So, yeah, I'm just devouring it. So go ahead.
So, the first book is called The CASQUETTE Girls, and this is the book from the first print run, which is actually almost totally finished, which is crazy. And the cover reveal for the new edit is going to be sometime really soon, like in the next couple of weeks. It's such a funny thing, cover reveals. I'm like the worst secret keeper ever, and now I have it, but it's not public yet, and I'm like,
Oh, no, that's the worst.
definitely going to accidentally put this somewhere. So I'm just trying to like stay off the internet. So. But yeah, it's coming soon, new cover. I put a teaser of it on Instagram. So.
Oh, goodness. Like a corner of it or something? Is that what you did?
Like an itty bitty bitty, yeah, you saw it. Like,
oh, yeah, that's right. I did see it. Yes, you.
Yeah, so it's young adult paranormal. It takes place in New Orleans. It's based on real urban legends in the city. So if you like magic and stuff that's based in history but very fantastical as well, it might be something that you're into. And you're reading, I'm reading Lumiere, but congratulations on releasing Noir. I can't imagine releasing 2 books in 2 weeks, so I think you're Superwoman.
Yeah, no, like, let's be clear, I did not write them that fast, but but I do feel like a little bit of a superwoman, you know, releasing them this close, because, woo, what a whirlwind. It's like, woo, hey, yay, Lumiere's out, woo, hey, yay, Noir's out.
Yeah. But on the positive side, it's like done after today. You can start working on the 3rd book.
That's exactly about it. But it feels like it's done, but now it kind of feels like pressure. Gotta get that one done. Gotta get it out there. People are reading. They read way faster than I write. So.
I know. I know.
I love all these people who say, they totally say, oh, I loved your book. I read it in a sitting. I read it in one night. It's like, no.
It's a year to write, it's a year to edit.
Exactly. You're like, no, wait, take your time. Savor it. It took me so long to write.
I know. I feel so bad that it will be such a long period of time in between book 1 and book 2, but that's the way it goes. So hopefully there will be a lot of fun stuff out in the year in between. So.
Yeah, exactly. Lots of little things will be happening and lots of little other exciting things. So speaking of that, so your plans are what? So you write the next book. Are there 2 in the series? Are there 3 in the series? What's happening with this series?
We'll see.
So your plan is like open. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, when I wrote the first book, I didn't know if it was going to be more than 1. So, and now we're on book 2, so we'll just keep going and see what happens.
Wow. Wow. Okay, so I'm just going to interrupt for 1 second here. We had a question pop up for Gwenda, and she's already gone. But I'm wondering if she is listening, she can go on there on the feed and answer it. They're asking, you said you love circus books. Do you have a favorite one? So if you have a chance, Gwenda, you can answer that. But
I'm sure she'll answer it on her Facebook page as well. She's really active on Facebook and her Twitter if you want to tweet it to her.
Yeah, that would be a good idea because she's gone home now. So, like, you know, off in her home. So anyway, so the plan is book 2 and maybe a 3. Is there even a thought of 3? Am I like being annoying, or is there possible that there could be a 3?
There's definitely thoughts of all kinds of stuff. So, but I 3-book arcs are pretty normal. So.
Okay. All right. So then, moving past that, are there burning projects that you want to write after this? And what kind of genre would they be in?
Yeah. I definitely kind of focus on one thing at a time, although I do have a couple of ideas for after this series. And one is totally like contemporary romance, young adult, and the other one is young adult horror, like way more horror than the Casket Girls. So I guess it'll depend on what kind of mood I'm in when I finish writing, whether it's just contemporary YA or super, super bloody.
That's funny that your mind goes to romance and then bloody horror.
Yeah, and there is one idea that I can't tell yet if it's horror or romance. So we'll just have to see once it starts writing. So.
Okay. All right. So.
But I know that you work on a lot of different things at the same time. It's crazy. How do you juggle like all of your worlds?
Me? Oh my God. Yeah, I work on more than one thing at a time. But to be honest, I had written all of the If Only series prior to like a few years ago, and I am revisiting that. I like resurrected it from the dead, and of my computer, and I looked at it, and I have like a dead section in my computer, and so I pulled it out of its coffin, and I'm doing this for you. You know that, right? This lovely language, but anyway, I looked at it again, and I was like, gee. Like, this is pretty good. There's some great stuff here. Why did I stop doing this? So then I went back into it, and I'm really enjoying rewriting it and bolstering it, and coming out with it in a new way, in a new method. That it's being told in smaller books and that kind of thing. So it's really not fair. I'm not really working on like two things at once because I already kind of did that one. But I have started a brand new project too, which, because I'm just crazy enough to work on three things.
I saw the cover on your Facebook page, and it's amazing.
Oh, I love that cover so, so much, and I really wish the book was finished for the cover. I did like you. I got all excited and went, oh, here's my cover. And then I'm not quite done. But, I'm going to take some time with that. I'm thinking with all of the stuff that's gone on with Spacescape, that book's going to be, we're talking about the Heartmender Society book, I'm assuming. And I think that's going to be pushed to, like, January because I want to make sure it's good and I want to make sure it's correct and lovely. And I just need the time because there's just been too much of a whirlwind with everything with the double release kind of thing happening. So. All right, we got some questions here. Okay, so first of all, Ashley says to you, I am a sucker for cover reveals. We won't tell.
I know. I'm not supposed to, though. But it's going to be soon. Just keep a lookout.
Being a bad little girl trying to make you do that. So, okay. Yeah, and it says, let me go to this one. It says she's lost her sound, but then it must be back. Okay, hold on one second. Oh, I lost it. It went away. I have no idea what Ashley said here. It says, either of you, thank you, I have no idea what's happening because I've now lost my sound. So
there's some old comments. Those are old comments from earlier in the party. They went with other comments, and they made sense. I promise they did. I saw when Ashley posted them.
Popping up in the wrong order. I was like, what is that? Okay, that makes sense. Maybe it's the alien from Teresa Kay's book that's at work here. Something's going on. So.
Well, are there any more questions? Because I have a question for you. If there's not.
Yeah, not at the moment, but we're looking for questions. So anybody out there has anything for Elise, please ask. But okay, hit me.
Okay, so since you're kind of like in between your second and third book right now, and I'm in between my first and second book, when you started writing the second book, or now, whenever, and so the world kind of like kept getting bigger and bigger, like do you have any kind of like tools or processes for like keeping track of your fantasy world, or is it all just in your brain?
Wow, that's a tough one. A lot of it is in my brain, but my brain does not function that well sometimes. So I would forget things for sure. What I did was I kind of, when I first started writing it, I was working on Scrivener, and I put some of those card notes, index card notes, to the side of each chapter. So I put like what everybody looked like and what their idiosyncrasy was and what, you know, their common movements were and whatever. And then that crashed. So,
oh my god.
yeah, crashed. Wasn't a big fan at that moment. I hear it's gotten better, but it crashed on me back then. So I then started putting it in this book here, and I literally did it in writing. Like, I just write things down. I just like write all over these pages. It's really bad. Well, there's one that's kind of organized. That's a miracle for me, but I write like this. This is normally what it looks like. It looks like this. Sideways and around. And then I can't really read it afterward. It's just kind of like a big mess. Anyway, I did put it in there. And then after I finished the book, I'd read it so many times. And I'd gone over it so many times with edits that I was sick to death of it. I really wanted to make a campfire with it. So I had a friend who was offering to do a story Bible, and I was like, ooh, what is that? And so I got really excited, and so I went ahead and I ordered a story Bible from her, and so she read it, and she said, is there specifics that you want me to find? And I'm like, yes. And I gave her a spreadsheet. And I was like, you know, this person, and, you know, what do they do, and how do they eat, and whatever. And then one for the world. And she did this incredibly great story Bible, which I used.
Cool. I want one.
Yes, well, I have the name of the lovely woman who did that. So I totally used that in a big, bad way, and was very grateful for that. And so, yeah, and I'm planning to, you know, it's great when a stranger does it too, because
exactly.
You might remember things, like you're remembering things, so you don't put them down, and then later you won't remember those things, and this person, it's all new to them. So they're putting it down.
Or you're like, that happened, right? And you're like, no, that got edited out in draft 17.
Right?
Like, did it? What's in the actual draft? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and some things were missed too, but then if she would write something that would like pique my interest and make me remember, oh yeah, I need to remember this, and I would add to it. So it was a great springboard, and it was a really important piece or tool for me to keep things straight. So I highly recommend. And I have a question for you now from outside. Okay, Elise, I don't have a book-related question. I just need to know, how do you keep the purple color in your hair? It is gorgeous. I had the hardest time getting the color to last, and this is from Sarah.
So, I get so many emails about my hair. I think I decided yesterday that I'm going to write a blog post on it.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go interview my stylist for this blog post. Well, the key is you have to bleach your hair first. And I know nobody ever wants to hear that, but it's the only way that it's going to work if you have dark hair. If you have naturally blonde hair, naturally really light hair, it, you know, is a serious advantage. But even then, they don't have permanent, you know, kind of neon color dyes like this. So it's all, you know, semi-permanent. And depending on how often you have to wash your hair, you know, it comes out pretty fast. The good thing, after you do bleach your hair, you don't have to wash it so much because it's so dry from the bleach. But that's the way to really keep it in, but then it just is a lot of maintenance. But one of the tricks that I have is I put dye into my conditioner. And so every time I wash my hair and condition my hair, it gets a little bit more dye in it, and it helps hold it over. But stay tuned, Sarah, because I am going to write a blog post on this with photos and everything, because I get at least a couple of messages a day about it on all the different platforms.
Really? That is so interesting. And that's a really great idea for a blog post. I think I shared with you that my funny story about that. I found this lovely model on Pinterest, and she had long hair, and it was all different shades of like mauve on through to dark purple. And it was just beautiful. And my kids swear they don't keep up with me on Facebook. Like, they're all in their 20s and they're over me, really, really over me. And so they're all, they pretend like they don't watch me. So it was so comical because I pinned this picture to Facebook, and I was like, I so totally want to do this. I'm a huge fan of purple, and I really want to do this to my hair. And my hairdresser is on Facebook, so she jumped on and she was like, this is totally doable. You just show up. I'll mix it. This is going to be awesome. Literally, my phone rang in like 30 seconds afterward. Literally, it was like all the kids, Mom, seriously? No, you're not, no. So all of a sudden, it was like, oh, you don't watch me on Facebook, huh? Well, there you go.
Well, when we get to Niagara in a couple of weeks, maybe you'll go home with purple hair.
Oh my goodness, that would be interesting. I would just say, you know, it happened at the falls. What happens at the falls stays at the falls.
Unless it's purple dye, then it comes home with you.
Exactly. So that's great. So I hope that answers your question, Sarah. Anybody else have a question for Alys? We're taking questions. And you can just go on the Q&A and ask any question you want. And I have a question. So I love the way that you wove into your book all about, you know, the aftermath of one of the greatest, most terrible storms in your region. So it's loosely based on, or I guess based on, the aftermath of Katrina. But the story is not about that. It definitely absorbs that. It plays that out. It you know, it's gut-wrenching, the details of the disaster that happened, and some of the details in that, I mean, they weren't covered on the news, so therefore people like me would not have known, and it's just so interesting to hear the devastation firsthand from someone who lives there, and the extent of it was no idea how far it went. In one of the chapters you were mentioning driving in and how far out you know, actual buildings moved, and very interesting. But I love the way you wove that all through, but the story is a separate entity on its own. It's an additional story to beneath the story. So it's kind of like a layer of story and a story within the layer of story.
It is like a story layer cake.
It is. And so how did that come to mind? Like, how did you manage that? Like, where did that thought come from, and how did you manage that, building the story?
Well, it definitely was not planned out in advance. It just kind of happened, you know, when you start writing with a single idea, and then all of a sudden, you know, it's something that's supposed to be simple, and then it takes a turn here, and then it takes another turn. I mean, pretty early on into the story, I knew that there would be an ancestor character who turned into Adeline. And I always thought it would just be a letter. She would find this letter that her ancestor wrote, and when I wrote that, it then turned into a journal, a diary, and then I thought it would be like, oh, it'll be like one chapter, it'll be one diary entry, and then that turned into like several diary entries, and then it turned into an entire secondary plot line, you know, and so it had, you know, own set of characters, and they all kind of, you know, weave in and out in between the two time periods. So I don't know, it just kind of happened. And it's continuing to get crazier. That's why I asked you how you manage your world.
You know, that happens. It's exactly like when I was writing Lumiere, and, you know, characters started appearing and things started happening, and I had no plan that they would end up in a house of any kind in the beginning. I had planned she would go to this outer world and this particular individual would be there. But I had no idea that he would live in this really creepy, cool kind of house. And then I was onto it, and I was like, okay, I'm totally going with this. And another thing that was interesting was I kind of knew there would be a house somewhere there, but I didn't know that it would be that type of house and be so cool and creepy and odd and weird. And I definitely did not know that he was going to have a tutor named Flossie. She stayed up on the page one day, and I was like, oh, this is fun. She's cool.
You know, I love it when that happens, when a character that you think is just going to be there for a hot minute, and then all of a sudden they just take the book over. I feel like that's what happened with Ren. I don't know if you've met him yet in the book, but he's a character that I get a lot of comments about, and he comes up in the reviews a lot, and he is one of my favorite characters to write. And I've had actually many people in real life ask me who that is based on, which is really bizarre and funny because he is just a figment of my imagination. Yes, but I like that people think that they know him. So.
Yeah, they met him last week on the street, right? That is very cool, and it's funny how those characters do railroad your book and become such a big part of it. Like, same thing with Flossie. She became this big entity to be dealt with, and I thought she was there for a scene. So yeah, you're right. That's always fun how that happens. So,
yeah, I love it.
Go ahead. And I like writing her too. She's just so fun to write. So.
Ooh, who is your favorite character to write? Hi, Rachel.
Hi. So I guess my favorite character to write, it's really funny, is Iris, because she doesn't talk. So to me, that was the biggest challenge: is how do you get a character across on the page who doesn't speak, and how do you get people endeared to her when she has no speech? Like, you can't use dialogue. And so I totally just wanted to try that and write that as a challenge, and I love her so much. And I get a lot of, funny like you, I get a lot of mail about her. People really love Iris. They're like, more Iris. I want more Iris. And I'm like, well, it's so hard to write, but okay.
Rachel, someone asked about hair dye, and I told them that I'm going to write a blog post on it, so I might have to hit you up for any hair dyeing tips that you might.
Yeah. Well, I'm super curious. I did purple, and it was a total bomb, so Pink is the only one that loves me. Purple hates me. So
Really?
I may be reading your blog post and tweeting it because I'm very excited.
Well, purple's hard because you have the pink tones and the blue tones, so you have to, kind of figure that out. But I love doing pink because it stays.
But you're right about the bleach. Gotta do the bleach.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
So, girls, I just wanted to mention this.
Rachel, do you live in LA?
Yeah. Like right outside Ventura County. So, like that area there.
Cool. Well, I'm coming to LA in September, so we're gonna have
we have to meet up. That'd be so fun.
All right, guys.
Yes.
I'm going to it because I'm just so grateful that my internet held out this long. So.
I just wanted to mention before you go, Elise, that Miriam, our editor, has popped on, and she's just said, "Hi, ladies."
Hi. Oh, I'm glad you said something because I can't see the Q&A thing. So.
No, I'm hogging
I can't either. I know, it's like mysterious.
It is. It's like you can't know the questions in advance, so you.
I like.
Okay. All right. Well. Thank you so much.
Congratulations on all of your releases. I can't wait to hold your books in person and stop reading them on my phone while I'm on the elliptical.
That must be hard. That's like a trick in itself, right?
Well, it's kind of actually easier with an ebook because you can just put your phone there and like flick, Exactly. All right, good night, ladies. I'll talk to you both soon. Have a great release. Bye.
Good night. Thank you so much for coming. Mwah! We'll see you later. All right, Rachel, we have some Burns. Oh my gosh, that's a character in my other book. But anyway, never mind that. Seriously, Rachel Burns is a character in If Only, and she's not a nice one either. So I apologize. That's hilarious.
Okay.
I was writing that earlier today. Oh no, you're breaking up a little bit, Rachel. So anyway, this is Oh, you might have to go off and come back on, Rachel, because you're really breaking up. Can you click off and come back on and see if that makes it stop?
Is that it?
Right.
Did we do good?
Yes, now you're better. Okay. So this is Rachel Marks, not Burns in my book. And she is
not Wicked, only sometimes.
Only sometimes. And I'm so happy that she's here with me today, joining me for this lunch. And so if you have questions for Rachel in this time frame, please ask away because Rachel is dying to answer a question. And oh, we forgot to give away Alys's giveaway. So 1 second before I do that, the girl who asked the question about the hair, you are the winner of Alys's gift pack. So please write me at garlicbooks@gmail.com and let me know that you were the person who asked about the hair question, about the purple hair dye, and I'll make sure that Alys gets that and she sends you off her gift pack. So, okay, so Rachel, tell me all about your book. I want to know. This is your elevator pitch. Go!
Go! Okay. Yes. I would say my book, Darkness Brutal, is about Aiden. It's a like TV Supernatural meets Charles Dickens' Oliver Twist. It's very it's modern, but it has that kind of gritty, earthy feeling to it. It's about ghost stories, so it kind of takes some of the local LA stories and brings them up and plays with them a little bit. Aiden is the main character. He is 17, and so it's a YA. It's like older YA. I wouldn't say it's younger YA, but they've said 13 and up, and my 14-year-old read it. So, and she is not totally warped from reading it. So I think it's probably okay for younger teens, but it's more for. I wrote it more for older teens, but you know. And so
these days, yeah.
Yeah. So, but I just, I don't even know. That's it. Yay!
Okay, good. So, your main character, compare him to somebody or somebodies in today's world for teens. Who would he be like?
That's good.
Who would he be like?
It's difficult because not a lot of people write male characters in the YA genre, especially fantasy tends to be more female-oriented. Some of the contemporary is more male-oriented. But I felt like I wanted to write who was genuinely in like the dregs of society, existed among them, but he kind of rose above it and had just really clear delineations in his mind about, you know, treating people right and being good and doing the right thing and all that kind of stuff. It was difficult to walk the line though because I didn't want to make him seem too perfect or too, you know, like I'm all amazing. So but I wanted him to be very real. So I kind of based him off of, you know, I know it sounds silly, but kind of this idea of like combination between Superman and if Superman didn't have any powers, like of strength. So like what would if he just had knowledge instead of strength? So I've always been really fascinated with like Superman and the character of Clark Kent and this idea of like this man who chooses to do the right thing even when it's, you know, difficult. So it's silly because it's about demons and it's a horror book, but just kind of like, you know, I have all these like, I'm very eclectic in my tastes. So I'm just a genuine nerd. I like Star Wars and Superman, and I totally love Batman, and then I love, you know, like Supernatural TV or like anything silly on, I don't know, I like soap operas. I'm weird. I like telenovelas too. I'm like totally obsessed with them right now. So I like have all these things. I'm always like, ooh, this would be interesting. So that's kind of where I got that idea, was just growing up listening to Superman stories and hearing all these stories about Superman, and then thinking, well, what if he didn't have any power? And what if his powers were more spiritually centered rather than physically centered? So, you know, that whole, and he's trying to save someone who doesn't want to be saved. So that kind of that juxtaposition of the people you're trying to save actually don't want to be saved, and what does that mean, like free will and all that. So
that's interesting. That's a great way to look at things, because that's a very common thing in life, isn't it? That we meet people and we try to save them, and they don't want to be saved. It's not happening until they want it, right? So
exactly. Yeah, poor Aiden. He tries, but
you know, we all have to learn those lessons too, right? So it sounds like it has a lot of message in it as well.
I don't know. I try not to do that, but I wanted to write a good story, but it sometimes always comes out like, maybe because I'm a mother, so
I think good stories always have messages. You know, I think really great stories always have messages. They're just not like beat you over the head messages. They're there, they're woven in intricately, and they make you think. Great stories make you think. Yeah. Pardon my dog.
Your dog agrees. Doggy agrees.
He's just being crazy right now, and he won't go away because he sits on my feet while I write all day, and he just thinks this, what are you doing tonight? Like, you're talking. You always look at the screen and don't talk, you know? He doesn't know what I'm doing. So I have a question. Yeah, I know, poor baby, eh? He's just like all confused. But so you mentioned novellas. Do you have some novellas planned for this series? Are you going to write around it a little bit?
You know, I have in the works kind of a prequel that details more of the story of Aiden's mother, and it would be told from her perspective. So, because Aiden's mother is central in the story, even though she's passed on, his memories of her are kind of what push the story forward as you're reading it. And so my agent, a lot of people that have read it have said, what about this story? What about this story? And it's kind of the idea for the book anyway. So I thought, okay, I'll write that. I don't know if people will want to read it. It's kind of sad, but but I think that it's really dark, and you know, it has time travel, but it's very it's a love story. So it might be kind of like The Notebook, but not cheesy, maybe.
Oh, I love The Notebook. I think it's cheesy.
Like a creepy notebook.
Creepy notebook. Okay. So are you hard at work on book 2 right now, or is that one done and you're on to
book
3?
3. I've turned into, yeah, I'm in copy right now with book 2, so that's done. And it is what it is. Hopefully it's good.
Yes. Well, so you're all finished, and it's in, and you're on.
It's in the works. It's coming out February.
So it's in the editing process, like copy edits and all that business.
Yeah.
Yeah. When is it due out? When is book 2 due out?
February.
February. Ooh, clock is ticking. So then, so are you hard at work on 3?
I am. It's coming out in October of next year.
Oh my.
Yeah, so, they had me on a really tight schedule. I only had book 1. I sold book 1 to Skyscape, and then so I had to write book 2 and book 3. But it's been really fun, and I love, you know, they're so great, the way they work with you and everything, and so it's been really exciting to kind of like, you know, expand on the world and the story, because I didn't think I would sell this book. So it's like an adventure I didn't know I would get to have. So.
Oh, that's really cool. So did you? I don't know this background, so I'll just ask. So did you self-pub sell a first book and then they picked you up, or did you sell first book directly to them?
Yes.
So you sold it directly to them then?
Yeah.
Oh, so do you have an agent? Did you go through an agent, or did you just do that on your own? Did you just say, you know what, I'm going to give this a shot?
I have an amazing agent who is like to be praised. I love her. And I've had a lot of agents, so it's nice to have a really amazing agent. And she got me a wonderful deal with Skyscape. I had a couple offers from other publishers, but we went ahead and we went with Skyscape, and I'm just really happy. This is my debut, so I wanted it to be really fun and not too stressful, and I think that I've accomplished that, hopefully.
Well, that's great. Well, I just wondered because you just said a few minutes ago, so now I'm confused. You said, I didn't think I would sell this book. Why did you think that?
Well, I have a lot of manuscripts. I've been writing for a long time, so I've tried to sell a couple books. So I don't have I don't have a lot of, like, I'm going to sell this. I feel like, this was my 4th manuscript I tried to sell, so I didn't have a lot of faith. I guess it had dwindled a bit.
You had gotten to that point, where you had tried a few times and you were thinking, oh, I don't know if this is going to come through, if this is going to work out.
Yeah, I was already working on another project, and so, you have all these things in the wings that you're kind of looking at, and then it came back to this, and I was like, oh, great, because you get excited about your baby books, and you hope that someone will want to buy it, but it doesn't always come to that.
Yeah, that's true. And you do think, you do get very, very involved and invested in the worlds and the characters and the books, and you think, oh, this might be the one, this might be the one, and then that hope bubble, gets burst. And then you blow up another hope bubble, and you hope for the best. So, that's exactly. Did you have, like, a bad feeling with this one, though, that there was, like, something about this, like, did your agent say, I think this might be the one, or,
I had, like, my agent was so enthusiastic. She's really encouraging, but I always take that with a grain of salt, because I think, okay, well, they're enthusiastic because they're trying to encourage me, but I don't know that I really always believe that they like it or want to, are that excited. Because why would they waste their time if they weren't? I don't know.
Yeah,
but,
no, I don't think they pretend.
They're like pretending because they don't want to hurt my feelings,
Yeah.
Whatever. So, but she assigned me with this deal, and she's actually in Jerusalem. She's
really?
based in Israel. Yeah.
Wow.
Which is exciting for me because. And she works with a lot of publishers, and so it was she was just starting to do her American list because she worked with mostly European publishers, and so it was just really exciting. And then she's Jewish, and my folklore is based a lot on Jewish folklore, and I have a lot of Hebrew in the book, and I'm not Jewish. So I wasn't sure, but I had done so much research trying to make it really, like, authentic, and because I have such a passion for, like, culture and stuff, and so I did and felt like I had hit the nail on the head was huge for me, because I thought, oh, yay, I did it.
That's amazing, because I'm impressed that you went in and researched a culture and everything that's not familiar to you, and because the book I hear has been a very big hit, and you've done really, really well with it, and so that must mean that you've been.
That's nice that you've heard that. I'd love to hear that.
Oh, I just, I hear that in circles, so and I just think that's amazing because you must have really hit the nail on the head. And that's what to do, outside of your own comfort range, outside of your own knowledge circle. That's great when somebody can go and do such amazing research and, pull it off to that degree. So that's great. Well, it must have done super well because they bought book 2, and they were buying book 3.
Yes. Oh, I don't know what they're thinking, but.
Oh, those silly skyscape people.
I'm glad they're completely owned by me.
Right, and it's fun, you know, you're a company that's taking risks where some of the other ones are not taking risks on some things, so that's kind of cool, because I had the same kind of track record. I had an agent that was wonderful, and he tried to sell my work for quite some time, and he didn't have any luck, and he thought this was going to be the lucky book. I thought this was going to be the lucky book. Many people thought this was going to be my lucky book, and he wasn't able to sell it, and so it was kind of very disheartening and upsetting. And then he said to me, well, you know what, you could always self-publish it and see where that takes you. And I'm really glad that I did. So, and it's funny because there's only so much real estate in the bookstores these days, shelf-wise, and so I guess, you know, they have to really take business secure risks when they purchase. And this was outside that. It was a very risky book because, you know, steampunk and fantasy mixed together. And so, as you know, that's something Amazon can do. They have the space, they have the virtual space, and that's the great thing about Skyscape. They can take some of those risks that other people can't. So I guess we both got lucky.
Yay! I know, I'm excited. I think it's really great, and I love Skyscape, and I love working with them.
Well,
and
that's
I'm
fantastic to hear that.
Yeah. So I'm, as a debut author, I'm like, feel like I kind of hit the jackpot. As weird as that sounds, you know, but it's like, oh, this is awesome. You know, I don't have to have all the stresses that some of my friends have, and you know, I mean, there's other stresses, but there's always stress. So I guess just
The industry is full of stress, but
yeah, exactly.
we'll get applause to Skyscape. Ready? I just had to do that because it was so much fun.
Because you can push the button.
This is so much fun too. Ready? That's for Rachel. And because I messed up, you know, and called you the wrong person in the beginning, I called you, you know, the character out of my book. So
that's exciting. I'm famous before I'm famous.
I know, and you know, she's a pretty cool character. But anyway, so this is Rachel Marks we have with us. Oh, I'm having fun now. Silly me.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
This is really weird because we have like there's like 3 things going on in the chat, but no questions. So I wonder if somebody's in the wrong spot. I'm just going to click on there for a second and see what's going on. Oh my goodness. So let's see. No, it's not. It's just a running list of what we've been doing, so that's good.
Oh, I thought maybe they were gossiping about us.
I know. I was a little concerned. And I was going to have to give them one of these. If that was the problem, I was going to have to give them one of these. We'll get them with the bad gong.
The bad gong.
The bad gong. You're probably too young for the gong show. I'm really old.
No, I remember.
Oh, well, that's what that reminded me of. Was the gong show. So, anyway, that's lots of fun. So, what else do you want to tell us that's on the horizon for you? Are you going out anywhere? Are you going to be anywhere signing books? I know you just had a great signing. I heard all about that on Facebook. So,
yes, I have. I love Mysterious Galaxy. Is my favorite bookstore in the whole entire world, and they are in San Diego. But they also coordinate Comic-Con, and they're very, they're a science fiction fantasy bookstore, and they're really honed into that genre, and it's just been so great, getting to know them. But they let me have my debut signing in their booth at Comic-Con this year, and then they let me, and I'm in LA, so they had let me come to their local Authors Day and kind of, say hi to everybody and do a signing, and that was super fun. And what I was going to say was they have books that I signed and left there. I had a couple left, so I signed them and left them there. So if anybody's in the San Diego area, you should go get your book there because they're amazing and they deserve all your money because I love them.
I love my local bookstore so much too. It's ridiculous.
Oh, it's ridiculous. You're an author and you're like, I love you, bookseller. But my ducks are here saying hi. I don't know if people can hear them.
Who's saying that?
My ducks.
Oh, ducks. You have ducks.
I have ducks. Yeah, they came to the door to say hi. They want their worms, but Mommy's busy. Sorry, guys.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh.
How many ducks do you have?
Just two.
Just two. You keep them for? Are they pets or do you?
Yeah. Yeah, just for fun.
Oh,
and eggs. Eggs too. Practicality.
Oh. So do you sell the eggs, or do they just have like a few eggs, or what do you
eat them?
You eat them. Okay, well there's a plan.
You're weird, but we eat them.
I was just curious because no, seriously, I had this teacher in school who had a pet duck, and they got it because their kid had been part of this program where they did like an incubator thing in their classroom.
Yeah.
They hatched chicks and ducks, and the kid wanted to bring home one, and the mom said sure, and then they raised this duck, and they had it for years. It was like their family dog. So
That's awesome. Yeah, they are. They're like dogs. They'll like follow you around. I love my ducks. I'm a little ridiculous. And as you can see, they love me. You can't see them, but they're just at the door on the other side of the computer. Yes, hello. Phil and Carol.
Yeah, Phil and Carol. Are you kidding me?
I'm always posting about them on my Instagram.
I'm
ridiculous. Apparently, I'm a duck lady. I had no idea.
I totally think these two deserve to be in a book somewhere, like for sure. You know the old cat lady story, who finds love? Well, this is going to be the duck lady who finds love. I might have to actually steal that. I might have to write that. I'm totally into this all of a sudden, and I think I have a story coming on.
Phil and Carol, and that's what my daughter said. She's like, we need to make them their own Facebook page, and Carol can post about how annoying Phil is being. So for a while we weren't sure if they were both boys, and it was right around the time that they were doing the whole Supreme Court for the gay marriage. So we're like, our ducks are rainbow ducks. But it turns out they're a boy and a girl. So they're gonna have eggs, and we're very excited. They have all these eggs that are gonna come, and we're gonna eat them. Yay!
You ever hatch another one and have 3?
Maybe. I hope so. I really like them.
that
My
would
husband's like, no more ducks. Stop with the ducks. But I'm like, I love the ducks.
I have so much fun that I want to come to your house and hang out with you in the docks. I really do. Like, I gotta find a reason to go to San Diego and go check the docks. But yeah, it just looks like so much fun to me. Absolutely. Yay! So back to the question: are you doing any more signings? Are you going to be anywhere, or
I don't know. Everything kind of comes up always last minute. My library, I was talking to the LA library, so I'm not sure, but I'll be posting on my Facebook page, and I visit schools more, so it's more like kind of like, surprise, I'm here. I'm not good at coordinating. I'm not very organized, but I try. So I was at Comic-Con, I did that signing, I did the signing at Mysterious Galaxy, and hopefully I'll be able to sign soon in LA at the library. So in Santa Monica, actually. So
that's really good. I'm going to do a shout out to my local bookstore while we're chatting about this because they're going to be jealous. So the Bookkeeper, woo! Yes, Susan at the Bookkeeper. She's
I love that name. That's awesome.
Isn't it a great name? And she's just this little independent, and you know, she's hanging in there. So you know, Susan at the Bookkeeper. Big applause for you. Awesome. All right, well, it looks like our guest has showed up the next one. So, Rachel, it has been just awesome chatting with you about your ducks and your books. And I'm so
Never a dull moment.
Yeah, so we will let you go now. And Kimberly Griffiths Little is here with us. I believe there she is.
Hello, hello.
Hi, Kimberly. Bye, Kimberly.
Hi, Rachel. Bye, Rachel. I've been listening to y'all. I've been eavesdropping.
And congratulations, Jacqueline. I'm really excited, and you're a superwoman with all your releasing.
Okay, thank you, Rachel. Thanks for coming.
Bye.
Bye. Hey, Kimberly. So we have Kimberly Little with us, and so I wanted to say right now to the group out there, anybody listening, that
I just lost you. I don't see you anymore.
Oh, I'm popping back and forth when you're not talking, and then I'm talking. Maybe you need click your monitor on. I don't know. Your little viewer on, but don't click the wrong button. We don't want to lose you. So,
well, you were live on the screen, and now I just see your little icon picture.
Oh, that's right, because now you're talking to me. So you only get the little picture of me now. So.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah. So, okay. So
with
anyway,
cute red glasses.
What? With
your cute red glasses.
Oh yes, I have to do that so I can see the questions.
Indubitably.
Yes. Okay, so
I went and curled my hair and put on my belly dance earrings.
Oh, look at that. That's awesome. If you have questions for Kimberly Griffiths Little right now, feel free to go on the Q&A to the side and write the questions, and we'll answer them as they come up. And if not, Kimberly and I'll just be chatting away here, which we do a lot of, so, that's not a problem. So.
Yes, whenever you and I get on the phone, it's like 4 hours later.
Yeah, it is. It's like, we should just talk more often, because we talk like 3 times a year, and it's a marathon every time, and we probably wouldn't do that if we talked more often.
Oh, I know my husband always wonders what happened to me.
There's your beautiful cover back there behind you. That's pretty cool.
Yes.
That made up.
You all have such beautiful backgrounds in your rooms, and I have like toys and stuffed animals, and we're sleeping on the floor right now waiting for our new mattress bed frame to come, and so anyway, so I thought I'll put my poster up.
Well, that's nice. So, okay, tell us about a little bit about your book. So give us your elevator pitch for Forbidden.
My elevator pitch. Well, back when Forbidden takes place, there were no elevators.
First of all.
So this is Forbidden, the first book in the Forbidden trilogy, and that's really original. It's published by HarperCollins, and I gave them lots of ideas for trilogy names, and they didn't take any of them. They just thought they'd just call it the Forbidden Trilogy. So, so Forbidden is about a girl in 1759 BC. It's ancient Mesopotamia, and it's the desert nomadic people and camels and tents, and of course some of the big cities of ancient Babylonia they end up in, and a girl who is betrothed to the prince of her tribe, and she's grown up with him. But over the last few years, he's been turning kind of hard and different, and she's not sure. He's carrying a secret about killing his brother on one of the raids, but all the other girls in the tribe think she's like the luckiest thing in the world, because Horeb is so handsome, and he's the prince, and she's going to have lots of wealth. So the book opens on the night of her betrothal dance, and back then, so it's got the whole backdrop to the ancient dance, belly dance, that we call belly dance today. And so girls were taught how to dance as they were growing up with their moms and their sisters, their aunts, their cousins. And so the women would get together in the evening. This is part of their entertainment. They'd sit around the fire and have food and talk and gossip and talk about who's getting married and who's having a baby, and where they're traveling to, and survival, but also they would dance together. So she has to do her first public dance at her betrothal. ceremony. And then, of course, life turns really crazy. They have to get out of town, get out of Dodge, and go travel to the summer lands, and all kinds of bad things happen. You can see it's.
There you go. You said bad things happen, and it showed you
all
bad
kinds of bad things happen. Yes, the spirits are are here. So
Yeah, they're
she ends up being framed for the murder of the king, and she meets this mysterious stranger in the desert who's been wounded in a camel raid, and he delays them, and they're behind their tribe. And back then, of course, they're traveling hundreds or thousands of miles across the desert, so you need to stay in a group because there's a lot of raiders and just dangers out there. A lot of times there's not enough food or water, so they end up being behind, and then here is this young man, and he's wounded, and they have to take care of him and take him along, and he's kind of very secretive and mysterious, but that's because of where he comes from, which are the secret ancient frankincense lands, and the caravan that he was on. So she finds out.
Well, you know what? I got the great pleasure of reading this book before it was a book, like an official book, and so I can say firsthand that it's one of my favorite books. It is so well written. It's beautifully written. It's a great story. It's a different story. It's a different YA story. It's something we've not read before in YA. For that reason alone, I would want to read it as a teen because there's just so much of the same thing out there. It seemed like, something became a hit, and the publishers decided, okay, we need 15 more of those that are kind of like this hit. And yours came along, and it's so different. It's so unique. It's just unusual. It's romance. It's intrigue. It's adventure. It's really great. So
so much. And Jackie has been a lifesaver. She's a marvelous critiquer. She has a lot of just innate gut feeling about what works and what doesn't. So she's
for
been
other people's books.
No, you are a great writer too.
Yeah, it's so funny though. I can see things in other people's books so easy, and then I'm like, oh, I don't know why mine isn't working.
But we're always super blind to our own weaknesses, and whoops, the cat just went over my over the keyboard. Like my little calico.
Quite the night here. I've had my dog barking, and then Rachel's ducks were at the door wanting food, and now your cat is like gonna sabotage the event. Hello.
Pretty.
So okay, I'm just gonna butt in here for a second and say something. So Rachel didn't give away her prize pack, and so it's going to go to Ashley Kemp. So Ashley, if you're still out there listening, you can contact me at garlicbooks@gmail.com and let me know that you're the prize pack winner for Rachel Marks, and we will have her send the prize out to you, because she wrote after we kind of like clicked off, and it might have just been a hesitation. She said, I do think it's interesting how we've seen a dramatic increase in female-driven fantasy, but I do appreciate a good male hero. And that was what Rachel was saying, that she had taken a big risk and written a male lead. And we both know, Kimberly, what a risk that is. So, I think we've known that for a long time. That's
well, there's always the male love interest, of course. We have to have romance, because romance is such a huge part of our lives. I mean, especially when you're a teenager, but for the rest of your life as well. So we all, want to read about romance, and so, but to have that be the main character is different. Although
right, exactly. It's a bit risky because we know that sometimes that's a harder sale, because it's considered that a lot of teen readers are girls, but I think that they're kind of wrong on that. But it is, a demographic, I guess, whatever they found out in their marketing. But it's a good thing not to forget about those boys too, and and girls love boy heroes too. So, they do. So I think I got another note here. I'm trying to sort these out because I don't know whether this came before or after. It's kind of my Q&A is all mixed up tonight, so I think it's cutting in and out a little bit. It says, I just got here. Hi, I'm Kelly, blogger at Book Crushin', and I'm the one who got Sarah Meadows to read Lumiere. I read the description, and I said, sounds like Sarah. Well, you know what? Thank you so much for that, Kelly at Book Crushing. I'm so excited because, you know, I did hear from, Sarah in a review that she really liked it. So that was awesome of you to connect my book with somebody who'd really enjoy it. And that is so important in this industry, is that connecting people with books that fit with them, being able to offer your friends books up. Like, I have hand-sold your book in stores when I've been standing around in chapters, and I know you do the same for me.
Oh, thank you.
But it's great, you know, because some kids will say, I've been standing there, and they'll say, I can't find anything new. I can't find anything different. I'm like, oh, I have the book for you.
Oh.
So that's important, and so thank you so much, Kelly. It's nice that you're here. Thank you for doing that. I really appreciate that. So,
well, it's always a thrill to hear from readers too. I get fan mail fairly regularly, and it just makes my day. It makes my whole week to hear that somebody did connect and really love the story and are excited about the next book in the series and all that. It just
that is exactly right.
High and motivated and. So.
Yes, that's exactly right. You know, you hear from people and they get what you're writing about, and they understand your characters, and they understand, you know, the purpose of, like, they kind of see the world and the story the same way you do, or you intended when you were writing, and you're like, oh, yes, that's a great feeling. It's just a wonderful feeling. And it's so wonderful when those people let you know, because I think a lot of people who enjoy reads, they just don't take the time to write it down. Like, they're just like, that was really good, and then they move on to the next read, and it means so much to writers. Just 1 or 2 lines in a review, it means the world to writers, and it really helps out visibility wise too. You know, as a self-pubber, you need those reviews in order to be able to go ahead and be viewed for advertising opportunities and other things. You know, people won't take a chance on you if they don't think the readership is out there and that they've enjoyed your product. So, you know, those reviews are key. So thank you so much for everyone who's out there doing that review thing. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Last week I got a really cute letter from a gal. I think she's like a freshman in college or something, and she stumbled across Forbidden and loved it and wanted to know when the next book was coming out. So we were chatting back and forth, and was telling her to go and, you know, at the end, you know, go practice your shimmies and keep yourself ready for book 2. And so we ended up having a little back and forth over a couple of days, and then she said, you know, you're really cool, can we be friends? And so sometimes I get that too. And I also write middle grade, you know, for Scholastic, so I get a lot of middle grade readers writing in, and it's fun when they write you back and they want advice and think you're really cool, and it's like, and I'm so much older than you, I could be your mother. But they think I'm cool.
Yeah. Okay, so I just got another pop-up here from Book Crushin' for you, and it says, it's just a comment, it's not a question, but it says, unique plot books are exactly what drives me. So there you go, some more encouragement. Thank you again from Book Crushin'. That's awesome. We're thrilled to be hearing from you tonight. So I'm going to give them a little noise effect here because I just like having so much fun with that. So for Book Crushing, oh, that's the wrong noise. That wasn't the right one. That's the right one. There we go. I didn't mean to stop.
I love your sound effects tonight. You are so prepared.
Okay, so we're going to give them another one because I messed that up. So here's a good one. There. Thank you. And all those reviewers out there, we love you. So fun. So fun. I'm just having fun with, I finally figured out this thing, and so I'm having a lot of fun with all the effects and you know, cool things. So
it's like a one-woman show back there.
I know. Well, you know,
station with all your little.
you gotta have some fun. So I'm gonna put my party crown on for a little while.
Well, I want one.
So, yeah, you have to go over to the magic wand. It's a yellow box. It looks like it got a magic wand in it.
Oh.
Click that on the left there by the toolbox. It's above the toolbox.
Oh, how about that?
So click the magic wand, and then you'll see all the stuff come up on the side, and you can pick a hat to wear.
Awesome. Where did I put it?
You just click it, and it appears. See, I have a halo now. Woo! Yes, you can just adorn yourself with, like, things, or I can have a crown. So much fun. So.
Oh, and I have some really fun news too, because the ARC's just arrived for book 2.
Ooh, do you have one to show us?
Yes, it's Banished as book 2, and here it is. Ta-da.
No, I think I like that cover even more. You need to back it up a little bit because we're not seeing it too well. So back it away from the camera. Oh, there we go. That's better.
Okay.
You need to talk while you're showing it. So.
Okay, here's Banished, book 2 of the Forbidden trilogy, and in a lot of ways, I think I like the cover better too. I wasn't sure at first, but then as I started showing it off to people when I did the big cover reveal in June, I got just a lot of really amazing feedback on it, and people saying that it was just really stunning. So I think it's going to jump off the bookstore shelves. I hope. Fingers crossed, right?
Exactly. I really like the I just really like the movement. I think that's what's attractive in that one is the movement. In that.
Yeah, and they of course in Forbidden as well, you know, with like her turning and her hair. And when this is kind of fun because when they did the cover shoot for book 2, they hired the same model as was on Forbidden, book 1, and while they had her, they went ahead and did, you know, some photography with the model for book 3. So book 3 cover is done. Of course, won't be able to release that till like next summer. But I'll give you a little hint about it. What's fun is, so she's in red here, and this is black on the gold. In book 3, she's in a white gown and with really cool gold jewelry. And so here her face is like turned away. Here she's sort of a profile, and in book 3, the face is more to the camera, and her hair is like flying across her face. Her white dress
that's cool.
Up. So yeah, it's really cool. So it kind of, you know, turns her head around. So that's really awesome. So I'm excited about it. I think they'll look really pretty. So the paperback of Forbidden, I mean, it's out in hardcover. The paperback comes out in January, a month before Banished comes out, which is February 2nd. And it's on sale right now on Kindle. Forbidden is for like $5.99. Harper's put it on sale, and
that's nice.
Yeah.
Started that one. So what's on the horizon for you? What else are you working on after this series? What will you?
Oh, after this series? Oh, I'm so enmeshed, crazy, panicked about writing book 3 of the trilogy. I need to turn it in really soon, and I only have 1 chapter.
Oh my, don't tell them that.
Oh yeah, this better not go public. Do not write my editor or my agent because
we're on public TV right now.
I'm like not emailing them. I'm sort of pretending I'm not around until after the summer's over, so I can say, oh yes, I have a draft of that. I'm just finishing the last weeks.
Okay, well you're live right now, so you better be quiet.
Yes, I'm working on it. Book 3, you know, there's so many elements that come together, and a lot of really big things happen, and so it's just been. I really thought I was ready to start writing it this summer when we finished all the final work on Banished, all, you know, the copy edits and the proofreading and all of that. And yet, over this whole summer, as I pulled out all my notes that I was doing like a year ago, I've got documents and handwritten notes and 3x5 cards that I use where I sort of plot out the whole thing. And I thought I was ready to go, but it's been, when I spread it all out, I realized that I actually had little holes, and I wasn't quite sure what was going to happen and how to link things together. So I've been doing a lot of brainstorming still on the book, and I'm hoping it's not going to be, you know, like 800 pages or something. But it won't. But it's.
Okay, so I've got another question pop up here for you.
Okay.
So Kimberly, that cover definitely has shelf appeal. What is the release date again? I will totally use it as Book Crushing's next Crush cover. Woohoo!
Oh, that would be awesome. Thank you.
Yes,
February 2nd. February 2nd. So about 5.5 months. Well, I can say less than 6 months now.
So Kimberly, you probably will want to get in touch with them after the event and, you know, follow up with them. So.
Yes.
So, very good. Okay.
I can get the contact info from you afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm an email. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. Book Crush.
So, okay, I'm going to have one question for you here of my own, and that is, who's your favorite character in the series? Your favorite character to write?
Oh gosh. There's a lot of characters. I mean, of course, your main character. It's almost like when you're writing, you feel, and especially when it's in first person, it almost feels like you sort of imprint on them because you're living their life with them. And a lot of times, once I get going on the book, I'm a very fast drafter. If I can just tell my family to leave me alone for about a month, I can probably crank it out. But you know, they want dinner every day. I know those people. So what's fun is sort of like to live the book in real time when you're fast drafting like that. And book 3, the time period will be a lot shorter than Forbidden and Banished were. So I'm sort of hoping for that. So of course your main character now, Kadesh, the mysterious prince from the frankincense lands. You know, he's pretty dreamy and romantic. And I find myself, you know, doing little painting spells. But some other characters, you know, the villains can be fun to write about. There are goddess temples in the ancient world where there was temple prostitution going on, and that's actually a huge part of the story when Jaden's sister gets caught up in that world. And it was a very attractive, you know, place to go. It's very attractive to her sister, who hates the desert, who hates the traveling from place to place to find the rains. A lot of times there's not enough food. It's just a hard life. It can be. And Jaden loves it because of just the freedom, and she loves the animals and all of that. But her sister has a really hard time with it. So at the temple, you know, there's beautiful gowns. You can take a bath every day. There's lots of food to eat, and it's just very luxurious and yeah, very
so you like writing your main character more than the sister, or the main?
Well, what I was going to say is that I like the, it's fun to write about the high priestesses of the temple. The priestess Armana, who shows up in book 1, and she has sort of a little evil flair about it as she tries to lure Jaden in to live the life and stay there and perform the sacred marriage rites. With the priests and, you know, the other men who come in to watch the women dance, and then she makes an appearance in Banished, where she tries to steal Kadesh away because she knows about him and wants to have a child with him because he's really awesome. And then when in book 3, well, in book 2, Banished, Jaden, of course, she has to go to the frankincense lands, and that was really fun to create. Finally, after researching about it for so many years, but there is the Cereba temple, and the high priestess there who, like, she takes the cake on evil and beauty and snake-like charm. So they are kind of fun to write, those scenes, because they're really filled with a lot of tension. So.
Okay. So I think for your session, maybe you want to give your prize pack away, which I think will probably include a signed book. Maybe you want to give it away to the Book Crushing Girls, because they've asked a few questions.
Yes, well, I was going to give away a signed copy of Forbidden in the hardcover. I was going to give away a signed arc of Banished. Ooh. And I also create book club cards for my book. And my sister, who's a phenomenal teacher, she writes the book club guides and teacher's guides for the books with lots of fun questions and activities and refreshments and everything. And then I have some really cool belly dance earrings. so that you can practice your shimmies at home.
All right, so how about we give that away to the book crushing girls, and they can all fight over who gets what, since they asked quite a few questions. Does that sound good?
That sounds fabulous. Yep, I'd love to.
All right, well then, book crushing girls, if you want to get a hold of me at garlicbooks@gmail.com, you are the winner of the Kimberly Griffiths Little Prize Pack, which is pretty awesome. And you'll be able to read those books you were talking about liking. So go ahead and give me that email, send that off to me, and I'll make sure that it gets to Kimberly and she gets that off to you. So thank you so much for joining me tonight, Kimberly. And I
thank you for having me. It's been fun. And congratulations to you, sweetie, for Lumiere and Noir. I'm so happy for you, and I'm so proud of you. I'm just so excited too.
Okay, well, thanks for joining me. Mwah! And we'll see you later. And
bye, everybody. Have fun. Bye.
Okay.
There's Tracy. Tracy's in the queue. Hi, Tracy.
Hello.
Hey, Tracy. So there you are. Tracy's joining us, and Kim's going to be clicking off right now. And then, so I have Tracy Clark with me right now, and she is here to answer questions. So if you're out there with a burning question for Tracy Clark, please jump on the Q&A and make sure you ask questions during this session, and we're going to chat it up in between and have our own little question session with each other. So how you doing, girlfriend?
I'm good. This is kind of a tease. All my friends I've been watching all along and hanging out and kind of just listening, and it's like, oh, I want to hang out with Kimberly. Oh, there goes Ellen. Wait, there's Rachel. It's really cool to see everybody. We don't get to do this very often.
Yeah, that's really fun, isn't it? I think we should do more of this, personally.
I know. With this technology, it's kind of stupid that we don't. But yeah, it's good to see your face. I've missed you.
Exactly. So you, my girlfriend, are finishing up your trilogy, the latest trilogy, and that book 3 cover is gorgeous.
Thank you. I know. The fabulous Kelly York, who's also an author with Entangled Teen, did the covers for both Deviate, that's the second book in the Light Key trilogy. Scintillate, the cover was done by another person. That's book 1. And then Kelly did Deviate and Illuminate, which I don't have arcs yet. They're supposed to be here any second, but there's a good little teeny bookmark version of Illuminate's cover. But it looks so good. Yeah, she really captured a lot of the elements from the book. And
from the book,
I was so excited we got the knife on Cora's back, because that was a huge part of it. Started in book 1, and it's sort of symbolic with some of the stuff she's gone through. So yeah, Kelly did a great job. It was awesome.
Yeah, I saw that right away. As soon as I saw that, because of course I was familiar with book 1, because I also got a previous read of that, which I get so excited. Just talking about previously reading Kimberly's too. And so when I saw that show up, I was like, there it is, because that was like a big thing in book 1. So yeah.
Yeah, it was a big moment, and I actually wanted book 1 to have that image, so much so that if people watch the book trailer, at the very end of the book trailer, there's an image of Cora's naked back and the knife appearing, which is what happens to her when she touches certain objects and gets memories from them. She has a sortilege called psychometry, and so she's marked by these memories. And I wanted it on the cover, and as happens, I got overruled. So I sort of rebelliously made sure to put that image at the end of the trailer. So if people are interested, they can see me be a rebel at the end of the trailer. It was really funny to do that image when we filmed the trailer, because I got to stand on a little chair, and like the key is dangling over her hand as the knife appears, and that's me standing on a chair in front of a green screen with a string and a key, and that was fun.
Oh, really? That's always great, when you get to be a part of something cool like that. So
yeah, that was really cool. Seeing the characters come to life like that was amazing.
Right, and that trailer is really great, and it's very special to you, I know. And yeah, that's I'm sure that's gotten you a lot of mileage. Do you get a lot of comments about that trailer? Do people write in a lot about that?
Now that it's been about 1.5 years since release, and we also did a Deviate trailer that was shorter. I think the filmmaker, being my fiance, Jason, who made the Scintillate trailer and the Deviate trailer, was having some fun with Scintillate. And so it's a little longer. I hope that people don't mind that. But it certainly has got a lot of views, and I hope people are still watching it. I share it once in a while. But I get teased by, there's a romance author that was teasing me for it being a 3-minute trailer where entirely 1/3 is devoted to a single kiss. So I never actually planned that out, but I guess there's a minute-long kiss in the, I like my kisses.
Well, I think that romance writer is just jealous because they're like, damn, why didn't I have like a full minute kiss going on, right?
Yes, I'm just saying, you gotta go watch it.
Yeah, exactly. And you're so good at those love scenes and so good at that romance part. That's kind of like what you're known for. Ever since I've met you, I've known you a long time now, and your writing's always got that steamy quality. So yeah, you're really good at it.
Thank you. I hope so. I mean, there's definitely a strong romantic element. There's starting to be this thing I'm seeing online about Team Finn, Team Giovanni, which is nice. It's nice that there's kind of two camps. Some people hate love triangles. Some people love them. I really think I'm going to surprise people with book 3 and what Cora ends up doing in that book. So I'm not sure people are going to see it coming, which makes me excited because I love to pull the rug out from under what people think they know what's going to happen. So, yeah, the romance. But I love to write romance. I mean, I probably should dabble in adult romance at some point when I find the time because I like writing it. It's fun.
You definitely should. You definitely should. And I know
I have a book coming out in a year from now. I have a young adult psychological thriller coming out with Houghton Mifflin Harcourt. And it's definitely got some steam to it. It skews a bit older. There's some content in there that's a bit older, and there's a couple of love scenes that I think people might like.
Oh,
I know.
La la la. Well, I know another adult romance project that you might want to sink your teeth into later on when you have some time too. Yeah. So I was going to say we are seeing the end of that trilogy. You have a new book coming out with the other group there, Mifflin. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, HMH for short, but it's Houghton Mifflin Harcourt.
Yes, that saves me from pronouncing things wrong. So, and then what's on the horizon? You've been working on something else that's super special and different and like breaking out of your mold about. What's that?
Yeah, I'm cooking up a historical thriller that I'm so excited about, and it's not finished yet. As people who write series know, and I heard a couple of the other authors talk about, you get a lot of people don't realize that when you're working on a series, you may be promoting book 1, editing book 2 and drafting book 3, and it becomes a really simultaneous juggling act with all the books in the series. So it's taken me longer to write this new project than anything else because of all the other work I'm doing, edits on Mirage, the thriller that's coming out. So now that I'm almost done, I've got galleys for Mirage coming any minute now, and obviously promoting Illuminate. See how promotey I am? Promoting Illuminate a couple weeks because it comes out September 21st, which is actually an early release date. So on top of all that, finally I'm hoping to settle down a bit and get to finishing. We've got about a third to maybe half, depending on the length it'll end up being, but got a good start on it, and I need to get some quiet time and finish it. But I'm excited about that one. It's very different from anything I've ever done.
Yeah, I really think that it's cool. Like I've heard you talk a little bit about it. I guess is it set in Paris?
Yeah.
What's going to be happening?
Yeah, I went there last September, did some research, and it's based on a real life mystery, a death of a young girl, and they don't know how she died or who she was, but the fun of being an author is that I decided I know how she died and who she was. So I'm having fun writing her story, and going to Paris to research was a dream come true. It was amazing. I did a lot of research.
That's pretty cool.
People ask me all the time, like, because so much of Scintillate, half of book one is set in Ireland. So it starts out in Santa Cruz, California, and she ends up going to Ireland, and all of book two is set in Ireland in DV8. And then in book three, it really branches out. It almost takes a Dan Brown-esque turn in terms of using real-world mysteries, and some of the characters are in Italy and Chile and Ireland, and come together eventually. So it becomes a more global story in Illuminate for sure. And I did go to Ireland to research when I first started writing Scintillate as well, which helps a lot. It really gets you can Google map things all day long or do your research that way, but there's nothing like standing in a place and absorbing it and getting a feel for the people and the air and the place. Especially in Ireland, it's really mythical and kind of a thinly veiled place. It's a cool place, and going there probably enhanced the imagery of the book for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. It's definitely something I would like to do, is go to the places. I was writing a historical way back, actually my very first book, and it was a Holocaust, involved a Holocaust story, but not your regular, not a normal account of a Holocaust. It was just a story in that time frame and involving that. It's hard to explain, but anyway, it was not an account of a real life experience, is what I'm trying to spit out. However, I got stalled on it because exactly what you just said happened, because I had them in like a forest and this and that, and I was thinking, I do not know what trees would be there. I don't know authentically what grows there. I've not been there. I don't know the smells, the sights, the sounds. Of course, I'm never going to be able to be in the war, thank goodness. Hopefully I'll never be in a war. But you have to imagine some of that, and I can kind of do that from the stories my dad and my uncle told me of their accounts of being in the war, which they, really told us a lot of great stories and made you feel like you were, in a sense, there. But to really authenticate this story, it was an escape story. It was a race for your life story, and I couldn't finish it because I couldn't feel it. I wasn't there, and I think I want to go to Europe, and I want to go stand in the places in which I felt I was writing about, and just look around and take it in and imagine it burnt out and bombed out, but just to be there is going to make all the difference. So I keep saying I'm going to make that trip, and I haven't done it yet, but fingers crossed soon, because I'd like to finish that book.
The challenge when I wrote the book I'm not done with, the book I'm writing now, the challenge is compounded by the fact that it's set in 1889. So Paris is different now than it was in 1889. So there's been a lot of research that had to go into, was that bridge there in 1889 like it's there now? Or, certain monuments and things, were they there? Or when were they put there? So I've had to do a whole other element of research. Even just going there was one thing, but then going there historically, my time travel is broken. So I can't go back in time, but I can, thank God for the internet, because I can do a lot of stuff. But I was going to say, though, when you were talking, is what I think so impressive about what you do, though, is you are a true world builder from start. Like with Lumiere, you've done something that I find challenging, conversely, right? You've created this world where I don't know that that's entirely my strength. You know what I mean? Like dreaming up a world. So, I got to hand it to you in that sense, because that'd be a challenge for me, to do.
Thank you. Well, that's easy for me. I don't know why, but I enjoy that. Like, I can make any stuff up. I can make stuff up all day long. My trouble was, exactly, I had the reverse problem, because when I actually was writing that story that would be in a place that people would know, I was like, oh, darn, wait, stop. And it was the same thing as you just said. I was literally, because the war was going on too, I had them going through a certain area of the forest and, through different countries. And then I stopped at one point, and I was like, wait a minute, that was bombed out. So they can't go that way. So then I was looking up old flight maps of bombings and like, you know, it was very interesting, but it took hours and hours, days and days going through like what passed. And then it was interesting because I came across a bunch of flight maps. My dad was an air gunner in the war, and you know, he was in Canadian Air Force. So I looked up these maps.
I didn't know that. That's fascinating.
Yeah, and I think that was part of why I know so much about the war, because, you know, that was his experience. But and he shared a lot, which was great. Great storyteller, my dad. But anyway, I got looking up these flight maps because this one gentleman that I called, he was like an old Canadian Air Force guy, and he had some, you know, some library of some historical things. And I called him and asked about that, and he was like, oh, no, you have to go here and look at these flight maps. So then I got doing it, and then I realized, he said, but be careful, because some of them are lies. And I'm like, what? And he's like, well, not really lies, but they were flight maps that were registered to fool the Germans. So they would think they were going that way and going to lay the bombs there, but they weren't. So you have to get them all verified to know if they're truly the flight map that happened. So, you know, your kids in your story could actually be here, and the flight maps say it's getting bombed, but it's just a fake one. So then they could actually be there. And I was like, oh, goodness. They just laid another layer on there of, oh, no, what's real, what's not, what's foolish.
You know why we do that, though? I know that people ask me all the time, like, what kind of research did you do on auras? Because so much of the series, I mean, Scintillate begins with Cora seeing people's auras for the first time and trying to learn what that means and stuff. And I've, you know, what's happening to her and what the colors mean. And I've had people ask me over and over at school visits and different, you know, conferences and stuff, like, are you some kind of aura expert? And it's like, well, no, I'm not, but I did a ton of research because I just know some self-professed aura person's going to, like, jump out of the woodwork and be all, green stands for blah, 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 you got it all wrong, right? So we do a lot of research because we know, you know, readers are savvy, and there's going to be someone out there that's some flight map expert or something is going to say, no, you can't have them run through that forest. So, you know,
if some living Air Force guy call me out on that and say, I was in that plane.
Yeah,
right? There.
That's our fear, is that someone's going to find some little detail that we thought we covered, but, you know, at the end of the day, we know we did our best. I mean, I know you're meticulous with your work, and I'm very much that way with research, and especially pulling together this whole series because I used so many real-world elements. I had to be sure about a few things, and, you know, I did a ton of research. I have stacks of files and stuff for the Light Key trilogy, for sure.
Yeah, I swear I'm going to have a campfire when I'm done this series with the Illumination Paradox Series.
No, you're not. You're going to save it because you will be the next, you know, you're going to, like, you could sell that stuff on eBay.
Anybody want to know anything about early X-rays? I'm your girl. Like, yeah, I have, like, you know, so much stuff about, well, in the second book too, just a little bit of a spoiler, there's like some torture stuff, devices, and I had a ball, like, researching those, and I was amazed.
Dark side.
Yeah, it was like, I was going a little off the, you know, and I was like, wow, you're serious? They actually did these things? And so, you know, but anybody, you know, found those files, they would really be seriously worried about me.
Yeah, I know.
That's why we have to have a campfire.
Our search engines are enough to incriminate us, so that's okay. We're writers. That's my big excuse. I'm a writer.
Yeah, exactly. That'll always be our excuse. So, well, we're coming up on 10 o'clock here, so I am going at my time, which is like 8 yours? No, 7?
No, it's 7 o'clock. It's still bright and sunny.
Oh, you are going to still be able to have fun tonight, so I'm going to go ahead and let you go. And
I'm giving away a signed copy of DDA. If there's anyone you want to pick for a winner, I'm happy to let you do that. Anyone who's been involved in tonight's fun, and I thank you for inviting me. I'm so excited for you and Lumiere and Noir, and yeah, it's really cool to see. We've been in the trenches together a long time. I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, exactly. We met a long time ago on the road to publication.
That's right.
So it's been a long, long road. With
Thank you for
winding paths and cliffs along the way.
And here's to having friends to take that journey with, right?
Exactly. Absolutely. Okay, so Lenore, she will find out tomorrow, I guess, if her friends tell her, and I'll try to contact her. She was quite active tonight, and she didn't win anything, so we will give the prize pack from Tracy Clark to Lenore. Lenore, if you want to contact me at garlicbooks@gmail.com and let me know you won the Tracy Clark package, then it's all yours, girlfriend. So that's fantastic. So again, I'll just say that you are the winner, Lenore, of the Tracy Clark package. So just contact me for that, because I forgot to click the little button when I was talking earlier. So there we go. All right, so we've had a great night, and I want to thank you so much for joining me, and this has been really special. And so, yay, both my books are off into the world with their little wings flying around, and I hope that people enjoy them and let me know about them, and you know, review them and do all those wonderful things that help authors out. And thanks so much for coming, Tracy. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I'll see you soon.
Alrighty, bye. All right, so I'm just going to finish off the broadcast by saying thank you so much for coming and so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. I really did, hanging out with all my friends and, you know, making some new ones along the way. That's just the wonderful world of publishing. So I just love it so much. So again, tonight we are celebrating the launch of Noir, Book 2 of the Illumination Paradox series, and Lumiere, Book 1, is also out, so enjoy. The two of them are there. There's a lot of reading to be done, and I'm hard at work on Book 3. Know that. I am working on it. So hopefully I will be talking to you soon with the launch of Book 3. Until then, thanks so much for coming. Thanks so much to my guests. I've enjoyed everything and all of you tonight, and it's just been a really, really great celebration. Thanks for celebrating with me. Bye.